Hey listeners, you're listening to the Midnight Readers podcast. Grab some tea, a midnight snack, and cuddle up in bed as we dive deep into today's most popular fantasies, sci-fi, and mysteries. We're your hosts. I'm Lily.
I'm Brittany.
And I'm Christy.
This season, we'll be discussing a dark academia bully romance series known for its smutty content, billed as a Harry Potter for adults, and touted by many on Book Talk and Bookstagram as an ACOTAR hangover remedy. That's right, grab some Stardust, we're headed to Solaria.
Welcome to Zodiac Academy. Note to students, vampire bites, loss of limbs, or getting lost in the Wailing Woods will not count as a valid excuse for being late to class or this podcast.
In today's episode, we're discussing Book 2, Ruthless Fae, chapters 1 through 14. The girls start to fight back, but with cleverness instead of brute force and cruelty. They're putting their plans together, and we can't wait to see how it all turns out.
But before we get into it, we want to give you a content warning. From this point forward, there will be spoilers, major spoilers. This includes potentially all Zodiac Academy World books, including the Ruthless Boys and Darkmoor Penitentiary series. We are also avid fans of the Moss Universe, Fourth Wing, and other popular romantasy book series, and we might accidentally let spoilers slip there as well. Sorry in advance. Like the books, this podcast is rated R. There will be smut, and there will be smut talk, and also language. Be warned.
Also, a friendly reminder to please like, subscribe, and follow. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube.
When we last saw our girls, after they were humiliated and nearly drowned by the boys, there was also a dead body, who might or might not be Professor Astrom. Something that we forgot to discuss last episode was the message that Astrom left on the tarot card that they found. First of all, it was the death card. Suspicious that maybe that's the one Diego pulled too? Mm-hmm. The writer in me knows that if something shows up in a story, it should come up later. Maybe there's a connection, though I know not all authors do it. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, we never discussed the message because we were too busy thinking about all the other bullshit going on, but it is suspicious that it's the same card as Diego's.
All right, and it reads, I made a mistake, and now my time is up. The shadow has discovered me, and there was no hope for me to escape their wrath. The answers you seek are hidden between Leo and Libra. Don't trust the flames. Claim your throne.
Yeah.
This brings up a lot of questions, like what was the mistake? Who and what are the shadows? What answers are they looking for?
And if they were running for their lives, how the hell did they have that amount of time to write that long of a note? And why the hell wouldn't you just say, watch for this?
Oh my God. And we know that Leo and Libra is Darius and Orion, right? So that's where your mind first goes.
But then don't trust the flames.
Don't trust the flames.
So wouldn't that also be Darius?
In theory.
I mean, instead of writing that long ass note, he could have been like, listen, here's your mark.
Don't trust this person, don't trust this person, and also fuck that guy. That's what he could have done. But no, had to be cryptic with your ass. And now you're dead. Look what happened.
So even having read the book, I cannot remember what don't trust the flames means.
Great. What if it's never resolved? The author forgot as well.
That's what we should do, is start keeping a list of questions and see if they get answered. Like a board, like a message or, a mystery board.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Right? Seriously.
Yeah. I mean, we take notes. We can keep them in our notes and stuff like that. But the thing that I was going to point out is let's say it is about Darius and Orion. Well, that leads us into this book because I feel like up to the chapters that we've read so far, they are key players.
Yeah. In this book, we get new points of views. It's still mainly Tori and Darcy, but we also get Caleb and Darius. Are y'all in the view into these boys' heads?
I thought it started really strongly with Caleb. That is a really good opener to catch the reader's interest because not only are we coming from the last book, which has no point of view from the boys, but it's also completely, not what we would expect for his point of view, I think.
For Caleb's though, I felt like it was. Like it felt like there were some redeeming qualities for him.
Well, for sure. But that's what I mean is like, I think we're supposed to think that they're all in on this terrible, like, plan. But it reveals that there's, like, cracks in that relationship and, like, stuff like that.
So we do start off with Caleb. The heirs are on their way to King's Hollow. Mine is Darius, and Caleb is pissed at Orion for giving them detention. But also remembering what they did to Tori kind of makes him feel a little uncomfortable, especially the part where he remembers her heart not beating so much. But he also keeps telling himself that it has to be done. And I don't know what I feel about his indecision here. He's like back and forth between, oh, it had to be done, but I hate it, but it had to be done. What do you guys think?
I want to like Caleb, but I feel like it's a cop-out a little bit to be like, oh, it's something we have to do. You know what I mean? I feel like I would like his character more if he was a little more decisive with how he feels against the boys. Like, I know that he feels like he has to have that relationship with them and he has to go forward with this. But if he's feeling that strongly in the back of his head, it's hard for me to imagine that he wouldn't have just said that to them at some point.
I think it maybe feels still a little more realistic than I think a lot of other books where it would be a defining like moment of like, you know, they turn from bad to good. And truly, if his whole life he had been taught one way about the Savage King offspring, of course I thought they were dead, and what he was supposed to do, and you know, maybe he fully believed that, he bought into it, and then now all of a sudden he's met with the reality of the sisters.
Yeah.
Maybe he likes them a little more than he thought, and it's calling everything into question. Why are you laughing? I feel like I'm like way off.
No,
I feel like
you are basically quoting something that happens later, but not with Caleb.
Okay, but I'm sort of right once.
No, I think you're right on par. I think, yeah.
But I feel like I can at least get on board with that. Like he's starting to question, and so that may move to where he makes a little more definitive choices, like that are, you know, right versus wrong. Now that he's actually, I mean, you know, it's a lot different when you're face to face with the whatever you're supposed to hate. So
you also have to remember that we're only getting, or in book one, we were only getting Tori and Darcy's point of view. So he may have spoke out against them behind, not in front of the girls, but behind the scenes.
Yeah, and like Lily pointed out, he tried to get them.
Well, he tried to get Tori.
You know, from the dance, but I mean, that was the one who was really getting the brunt of like the physical danger.
Yeah.
And Seth is pretty proud of himself.
Douchebag.
You called that one so hard. He's such a psycho.
Yeah.
He's a psycho.
And Max was pretty pleased as well, which is not the greatest look for him. But so King's Hollow is their getaway when they need to be alone or alone with each other. It's a sanctuary for them to be themselves. And Lily, you said it reminded you of the Whomping Willow.
Yeah, well, I was only like 5 pages into this book, and I was like, wait a damn minute. They're going into a hole in a tree that's called, what's it called?
King's Hollow.
King's Hollow. Come on, you can't. The first thing I thought of was the third Harry Potter movie where they're going into the Whomping Willow and then it opens up into the Shrieking Shack and everything. I immediately recalled that I said this was a fanfic. I immediately started thinking about Marauders fanfic, and I was like, oh my god, take a step back. We have to talk about this because there's 4 Marauders, there's 4 main boys, and also Snape is considered a part of the Marauder fandom, so technically there's 5. And so immediately I started texting you guys. I was like, oh my god, it's a Marauders fanfic. There's no way that it's not. Like, this is all very Harry Potter. And then if you think about it, I'm not sure what Marauder would be what boy. It's probably a little too loose for that. Like, we kind of discussed back and forth. It can't be like just an immediate, like they didn't write a Harry Potter fanfic and then, you know, smash it over into a book probably. But there are some really, really close similarities that it just feels quite uncanny.
Orion is totally Snape.
Yep. Orion is the Snape. And it, like, fits, too. It just, like, the more you read the book, the more you think about it, you're like, damn.
Would he be more of like Wormtail just because he's serving?
Not even a little bit, no. Wormtail is no, because like if you think about everything that he does in the book later on, like for example, this is getting a little bit ahead of. We'll talk about it later, but his little bond with Darius is absolutely the unforgivable bond that he makes, that Snape and Draco make to kill Dumbledore. Don't you remember when they make that bond?
Yeah.
It's gotta be. And then Darius is Draco loosely because he's got daddy issues and he's rich.
Yeah, although a little less wormy, but yeah.
Oh, you don't like Draco?
Um,
Oh, he's like a fan fave. People love
He
Draco.
is.
the character, like, no, he's super whiny. Maybe when he gets older a little bit, but when he, like, at first, my God, like, I can go to like a, store and get that character.
You haven't been a part of the fandom online that is just very obsessed with Draco Malfoy.
And Hermione.
Yeah, and Hermione.
Does some of that come from real life though, with the two of them?
Maybe.
Because all the interviews, they were so adorable about each other. I mean, I know there was like nothing there, but they
I
were
think
just
it
so
is.
cute.
I think I think we're probably going on a tangent now, but I love that. Personally, I think that people were attracted to Draco both as a character and the actor, Tom Felton.
Yeah.
And then I think people saw themselves in Hermione.
Yeah.
And I also think that when fanfic was becoming really huge in like the early 2000s, 2010s online, Harry Potter had the highest amount of fanfic out of every fandom.
Yeah.
And it was all with Hermione and Draco. And, a lot of it.
Was it
Harry
after
and
she
Draco.
slapped him? Was that like what started the whole, like...
That is it's a good moment. It's a good moment. But what was I going to say? Also, there's no other, like, leading female characters in the story for people to be able to pair up, I think, is part of it.
Yeah.
And so it has, like, snowballed.
So, okay. So I realized this was a totally different thing. Team Ron or Team Harry for Hermione? Did you feel like she got it wrong? Okay.
Harry.
Yeah, definitely Harry. I think most people don't like Ron and Hermione together.
Yeah, they just seem awkward.
Yeah. I think it was kind of forced.
Although, honestly, all of them, they seem more like siblings than...
Great.
What was it, Victor? I feel like Victor should have, that should have been her.
Hermione deserved him.
Yeah. He was so cute. Yeah,
Or
with
Draco.
her. Yeah. Or Draco, yeah.
So I had this thought today. Don't hate me, Christy. Sophia is Hermione.
Nope.
She's
No.
the know-it-all
Jerry.
who knows all
Jerry.
the answers.
Team Jerry.
Absolutely not. Not even a little
Hermione.
bit. I disagree. Sophia is not Hermione.
Sophia is the bookworm.
Hermione is brave.
Just wait.
Jerry. Right? Right? Team Jerry. I feel like Jerry would be more of a Hermione.
I don't know if Geraldine is Hermione, but
audacious.
I am just very, very sure that Sophia is not Hermione.
No.
Geraldine is not the bookish type. She's not. She's bronze.
She's smart.
She is smart, but Sophia's the one who knows all the answers.
And yet still sucks.
I disagree.
Christy just hates Sophia so
I
much.
disagree. I cannot wait for y'all to get to know Sophia.
I will say that reading this book, I was very concerned about the lack of Diego. Not that I think he's up to anything bad. I'm just now really concerned. Where is he? He had the death card. Is he about to die? I'm very worried.
Are you worried or excited?
No, I'm worried. I'm like, where is he? Either something bad is up, but I don't know if it's bad as in he's gonna die or if it's bad as in he's involved. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm on the fence.
Yeah, I feel like I read into a lot of stuff with him now. Ever since you like pegged him as fishy. Then that's all I've seen is like fishy.
Yeah, and I don't even know if he's a bad guy. I think it's just I'm just like on the
Yeah. But still, Jerry.
on the lookout.
Even just through chapter 14, I fucking love her.
Okay, let's go back. Let's go back.
All right. So in King's Hollow, Max says that, it would have been easier if Tori would have just died in the pool. And that sets Caleb off. he attacks Max, bites him, and takes more than he usually does, and doesn't, he usually asks. And then, of course, Darius walks in. He's ignoring the others, and Seth confronts him about, hey, did you barbecue somebody on the way out? And Darius has no idea what they're talking about. So Darius obviously didn't do it, in my opinion. What do you guys think?
I don't think Darius did it.
No, neither.
I don't think he has any idea. But I just want to know what he was doing. I don't think he barbecued Professor Astrom or whoever's body that is, but I do think he's up to something. But also, we get a little moment in here that I wrote down in my notes. There's a slight mention of how Max is actually like a softie. It's very, very brief.
It's something Caleb suspects.
Yeah, and then we get a little bit more insight later, probably.
We do, but it's more like, I felt like he's still like, just CYA and then follower. Like,
Yeah.
But
you know what? Who would be perfect for? Sophia.
I can't wait for you to find out who he ends up with, because they all get love interests. Every single one of
It
them.
better not be Jerry.
All
I hope
five.
it's Jerry.
5 boys, Orion, the 2 girls, Sophia, Geraldine gets somebody. Like, it's a whole, like, everybody gets someone.
I notice a lack of Diego.
I said everybody.
I said
But
everybody.
you didn't say Diego.
I almost named Simon Diego.
No, why would you name him a character you hate?
Well, I don't hate him.
You
I'm
don't
just
trust him.
fascinated. Yeah, I just don't trust him.
Well, I mean, let's think about it. Puñeta is not that trustworthy.
Yeah.
Getting everybody pregnant.
Yeah. For the listeners out there, there's a feral cat that we've been feeding. I was calling him Puñeta, which is a funny name, so I've been trying to rename him. I landed on Simon, but for a hot minute, Brittany did say Diego, and I was like, it's not a terrible name. Because I was thinking of the saber-toothed tiger from Ice Age.
Oh, yeah. You could get him a little beanie.
Oh my god. I'm gonna make him one. I'm gonna make him a little beanie. And he'll be a little Diego.
Oh my god.
Wait, we have to find out what Diego's order is first. Then we'll make the decision. Anyways.
All right. And then the boys also Caleb also mentions that he doesn't want to rule like their parents do. And that brings up concerns. Like, if he doesn't want to rule like their parents do, and yet they want something done and they are immediately like, okay, why are you following them if you don't like what they're doing? Grow a backbone.
I feel like they're biding their time.
Yeah.
But why doesn't he talk to Darius? Because it feels like Darius is too. Why wouldn't you talk to him at least and do it together? Because I feel like they've all got these secrets that they're not sharing with each other. They're not quite as close as it makes them out to be.
Yeah. Do you think Darius would like to go back to his brothers and be like, yeah, by the way, my father beats me?
True.
It makes him look a little weak, I think, in their eyes.
Yeah, I think that is the problem with guys. They don't want to talk to each other.
Well, I guess maybe he's right. Maybe they would look down on him instead of being there for him.
Well, it's like, and again, we'll talk later, Max has his own secret.
Yeah.
That he doesn't tell the other heirs. So God only knows what Caleb and Seth's secret is.
I don't think Seth has a secret. I think he is full out psycho. I enjoy it. Love how my parents are ruling. Let's keep it going. Like, yeah.
I don't know. I think he does have a secret, but it's something fucked up and weird.
Like he's worse than his parents.
No. I think it's some weird ass shit. Like, if Seth were a person in real life, I shouldn't say that. I could offend some people.
Charles Manson.
No, I was going to say maybe he'd be like a furry.
I mean, he is a wolf.
Exactly. No, but I think his...
What was the clown killer? I want to say Brady, but
John Wayne Gacy.
that's the John Wayne
Wayne
Gacy.
Gacy.
Brady, the football player.
Yeah. I love that you're comparing Seth to Gacy. Jesus, God.
I feel like he's like that.
Christy either really loves a character or thinks that they're the worst character.
Yeah.
And it's very black and white.
Personally, think you're being too hard on Sophia, but that's just me. I can't wait for you to meet her.
What about Seth?
Seth, you guys.
Oh my god, Seth is a psycho.
Okay, so on to Darcy. She's in the shower. She's devastated at the loss of her hair. Her scalp is exposed, but she doesn't want the heirs to win. The school has become their home, but they don't feel welcome, so they don't know what to do. They decide to go back to Chicago, but before they do, they need some money and a way back. So they decide when they get notification that all the students are required to go to this assembly that they're going to go steal Darius' gold and Orion's Stardust. Things don't go exactly as planned, though.
Okay, this is the boldest move that they could have done at this point. Like, going from being terrified and about to run away to just straight up being like, we'll steal a dragon's gold. That is bold.
It is.
That is bold because you would think like that's the worst person to steal from, right?
Yeah, you don't touch a
But
dragon's
I guess
joke.
what have you got to lose? And can I just point out that Orion is this book series Tinkerbell?
Tinkerbell.
Well, they all have Stardust. As he explains later, the Stardust is actually made by the dragons. So wouldn't that make Darius? But yeah, they literally have to call a meteor down from the sky and burn it with their dragon fire to make Stardust.
It's kind of awesome. But still, let's just go back for a moment and talk about the fact that Tori goes in there, steals the gold, also steals a weird dagger.
And we will talk about
What
that.
is with the dagger? Yeah. And then makes it look like an accident, but also she has like a moment where she's like encapsulated by the fire and you're like, what is going on? This is clearly like an important moment, but we don't understand it as readers. And then she escapes pretty much unharmed. But I feel like it's a setup for the rest of the story so far. It's a huge moment.
What do you mean a setup?
Like, that is gonna come back and bite her in the ass in more than one way. Not just because she stole gold, not just because she set a fire, but she stole that dagger, which I feel like something is bad about the dagger. I don't know. Something about the dagger is not good because it was like calling to her. And then she did not want to get rid of it later. I don't know if we remember that.
Mm-hmm.
We can talk about it later. And then the fire thing clearly means something, but I don't know what it means.
Okay.
What about Darcy breaking into Orion's office?
I just love their dynamic.
Well, and when she's going in, doesn't she have to get past another professor?
That's Mars Lab.
Oh, for the hair. Okay, sorry.
She breaks his door. Like, she tries to use her magic as a lockpick and breaks a hole in it.
She's the Ron, actually. She's the goofy ass one.
Oh my god, she is Ron.
Oh, Lord.
But she's definitely gaining in confidence because I feel like that's new for her. Like,
Yeah.
doing something like that, and then when she is using the Stardust,
Well,
you know?
not only does she break his door, she destroys his desk.
Mm-hmm.
And y'all won't find, this is not like a major detail. You won't find out later until you read the boy's POV, which by this time you'll forget about it. That was his father's desk. And I feel for that desk now.
Oh, poor Orion.
She just
Really?
destroyed it.
No, that's why I'm
After
like,
what he does to Diego,
poor Orion.
yeah.
Yeah. I don't give a fuck about his father's desk. Like, I like Orion, and there are moments where I'm like, ooh, love this dynamic. Ooh, I'm really enjoying it. But he's also an asshole, and he deserves it.
Yeah. That's what
I think Darcy is my favorite twin also. I really enjoy reading Tori's, like, part of the book.
Yeah.
But Darcy makes me laugh. Like, she's kind of an idiot. And I don't know. I just really enjoy reading her part of the story.
So while in Darius's room, also, Tori goes through his desk and finds all these fan letters from admirers, including one by Cindy Lou Galaxia.
Oh, the cringiest letter.
Cindy Lou Who.
Yeah.
This is a little Easter egg from the Ruthless Boys series, but she is the Kylie Major of that series.
Oh my lord.
So just reading that after I read the Ruthless Boys was so much
The
better.
fact that he keeps the letters. Like, if he really didn't care,
He's not a teenage boy, but he's a boy. A woman sent you a naked photo. They keep them.
But he kept the letter. Not just the photo, he kept the letter.
He did.
You know, it's sadly probably pretty realistic.
Yeah, but it kind of bites at the insecurity aspect of it. Like if you need the verbiage, like, are you really that secure in yourself? Because if you were, you would know. You wouldn't have to have somebody tell you.
I love that analysis of that.
Therapization.
Back to the fire thing. Tori says the twins were made for survival. The fire that should have killed them as children didn't. It killed their parents. Like, how, as infants, they were infants. How did they survive that fire?
Did they set the fire?
They were infants.
Good question.
With powers.
And their powers aren't awakened until 18.
Maybe theirs were. Okay, so no, because she's already read the book. Or you're getting us off on the wrong path intentionally, because you know.
Which Brittany will do.
I do like to play devil's advocate. But it's just like in fire class, she is insistent that this fireproof suit that they all have to wear isn't necessary, that her magic wouldn't hurt her, but everybody else has to wear it because they know that they can be burned by it. So what exactly is making her believe that her magic can't hurt her? And in fact, when she's in Darius's room and she goes to melt his gold, she literally sticks her hand in the gold and swirls it around and calls it molten soup. And literally that's like burning metal on your skin, and they never mention anything about burns or anything.
So it's not so much her fire doesn't burn her, it's that whatever she is fireproof.
It seems that way. It reminds me a lot of Daenerys from Game of Thrones, if anyone's a Game of Thrones fan. Although, arguably, in the Game of Thrones book, she can still be burned. But Daenerys is always talking about how a dragon can't be burned by fire. Like, she doesn't believe she can be hurt by fire. But Tori actually isn't hurt by fire. Or molten metal.
Daenerys wasn't either when she walked into that fire.
But that's actually just like a standalone moment. There's later she can be burned.
Ah.
Yeah.
All right. We're also going to talk about that silver dagger she finds. I know you started on it, but it didn't melt. It's unusually heavy. It's got strange symbols on it. The dagger calls to her magic. It seems to contain energy. She gets the urge to cut herself, which is freaky.
I have a theory. I don't know why I have this theory, but I think that the knife eats magic or drains it because it calls to her magic and she doesn't want to let it go. I feel like it's sort of like a parasitic kind of magic. What's that sword called? There's another sword or dagger. Maybe it's in D&D or something. That's it literally will eat your magic. I don't know.
I think it is D&D because I know there is one like that, and then you have to have, I think it's a special glove.
Dagger. It's a dagger of draining or something.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm gonna look it up. The draining dagger.
Yeah, I think that is. I think that's the one I actually have, but I also have whatever it is that keeps you from.
Interesting that they call it that because Orion mentions a draining dagger later.
Does he?
He does.
Oh, well, maybe my theory was just me reading that later. Oh, okay. Just kidding. I actually am not that smart. I just read it in the book. Probably.
That's not true.
Well, I mean, he doesn't say anything else about it. He's just talking to Darius, and he's like, that draining dagger is out there, and we have to find it.
Well, then that's the.
He does say that. So I just got that from the book. But I think it drains magic.
I mean, that would make sense. Can it store? If it can store it for use later.
So I also want to talk about the differences between Tori's and Darcy's attitudes in this situation. Tori is destroyed, but not broken. I think she's traumatized, but not broken. She doesn't think of herself as broken. And in fact, after going to Darius's room, she's like, Karma's a bitch and her name is Tori Vega. Whereas Darcy literally says, I'm broken, until she runs into Orion and he convinces her otherwise.
But then is she really broken?
I feel like, honestly, if you yourself are saying you're broken, she may have been broken in that moment.
Yeah.
She fixed herself through Orion.
I hate that. I would just like to see her fix herself.
I think Darcy's just fucking dramatic. Because she also dyed her hair blue because she broke up with a guy.
That's so true.
I mean, maybe it's rude to like trivialize that breakup for her, but I just feel like, damn, maybe Darcy's just like kind of dramatic.
Yeah. So after Orion catches her, they go back to Air Tower.
They go back or they're transported?
They're transported back to Air Tower. And she accidentally throws him off the roof. She's like, damn, I killed Professor Orion.
That's so funny.
And he uses her magic to kind of, or he uses his magic to mobilize her, and then kind of goads her about running away.
He clearly just likes her so much. Like, obviously here, but later in the book as well, you're just like reading it and you're like, he just really likes her and he does not want to admit it to himself.
He's very dramatic too, so I feel like they make a great team.
Yes,
Although,
absolutely.
Can you imagine the two of them together? Like, who gets to be the dramatic one?
Absolutely, it's going to be Orion, hands down. He is, like you said,
Seriously.
jazz hands all around. Yeah, it's so funny.
I think it's very telling that Orion is the one that does convince Darcy that she's not broken. I know you'll disagree with me, but I think this is his teaching style. And Darcy mentions it later. The way that the Fae are, they have to be pushed and basically bullied in order to be motivated to do something. And so that's how he, as one teacher, does his teaching. He encourages them so much to fight back. He's not the type of person, like, if you do, like, later on when Darcy attacks him, he's like, I'm so proud of you.
Love that.
I think for him, he's using it as a motivation. He also likes to be an asshole.
But he does it at somebody else's expense.
Yeah. And to be fair, I plan to talk about this later, but it doesn't work for all of his students, and he needs to adjust. But I do think it makes him, in the Fae world, a very effective teacher. Because it does motivate them to do better.
Yeah, but blatantly things are changing because their world is changing. They've talked about it going into chaos. So wouldn't that tell him that it's not working? Like, however they've been in the past, something needs to change?
The chaos, though, they think is being caused by the nymphs, or so they say.
So would that dagger be something that could be used to temporarily give power to the nymphs and force them to do certain things?
That's not a bad idea. I don't know.
Brittany?
Anyway, so when Darcy returns to her room, Tori is laying in bed, surrounded by gold. Darcy admits she wants to stay. They've never run away from anything in their lives, and they don't want to start now. So they decide to stay. And Tori's like, thank God I covered my tracks.
Yeah.
But they also make this plan to hit the heirs back, but they know that they can't use their magic to do it because they're not trained yet. So they do it by cleverness. And I love it. I love their plans.
I agree. I think so far in the book, it has been really fun to see them try and get their revenge.
So they've already made a move on Darius by stealing his gold.
Yes.
Which they decide to keep and hide it under the bed. And Darcy gets a message from a Lance, who she's like, who the fuck is this?
The first time I read that, I was like, Lance? Are you fucking kidding me? His name is Lance?
Like the 80s.
Oh my gosh. It just kills me.
She's like, I could never hear myself calling him that. You wait, girl.
Okay.
Oh my goodness. Oh, Lance. Oh my god. I'd be calling him Orion for the rest of my life.
Yeah. Though, he responds when she asks who the fuck is this, as, you know me as the one with the general air of failed dreams. Or, we never talked about this in the first book either. The general air of failed dreams. So clearly he didn't want to be a teacher.
Right.
What do y'all think about that?
Well, I think obviously, as we see in this book, it seems to be that he had to become a teacher because of whatever deal he's got going on with Darius.
Yes.
Because he has to be close to him.
Yeah, he has to be close to Darius, and also it seems like he has to protect him or something.
Yeah. So he had to give up whatever it was that he was.
Yes.
Failed heir? Like,
The general heir of failed dreams. That's what Falling Star described Orion as.
Failed dream. That's
The
harsh.
bourbon drinking professor with a permanent scowl on his face and the general heir of failed dreams.
okay.
Imagine Professor Astrom.
Sitting on his iPad and typing this shit out. That's just so funny.
He's so petty.
He is. Oh, yes, just think of the general air of failed dreams.
Like, I mean, you don't have
Like,
more
damn,
important things
son.
to say, like, you know,
Yeah.
here's who killed your parents.
It's just like,
Like, instead, we're going to make fun of other teachers.
yeah, it's ridiculous.
So Tori joins the crowd going back to Ignis. She meets up with Sophia, and behind her is Darius hanging out with his fan base, which includes Milton Hubert, the guy who posted all the naked photos of her on Facebook. And then there's chaos when they arrive at Ignis' house, and Marguerite is all up in, the dramatics. We need Darius!
But Darius wasn't enough.
Yes, I loved that they were like, does anybody else have water magic? Oh, Tori, go help him. No, bitch.
She was just like, no, I'm not going to help him. Why?
As Darius said, make me.
Literally.
And of course, Professor Pyro and Principal Nova shows up. I love that Nova kind of accuses him of setting the fire himself. Like,
she's like, well, you are a dragon. Yeah. And you do have some anger issues, so.
I was like, damn, woman, to his face.
Yeah.
You finally got some balls.
I loved reading how upset he was. I feel bad about it, but he just
deserves it.
Yeah, I mean, like, he just sounded like he was going on like a fucking rampage.
Like, my thing is, he goes into this burning room and he's like, I'm fine, I got somewhere to sleep. I just need my gold.
And there's no gold.
I'm like, did you really think your gold was gonna survive that?
Well, I mean, that's a good question though, because like, does gold have a high melting point?
It sounded like he expected it to, and that they expected it to, but she targeted it. Like, I mean, of course, she stole some of it too, but then.
And granted, like, the gold still exists. It's just in melted form.
Yeah.
So would that not work at all for him?
That's what I was thinking. I was like, why wouldn't that work for him to
Maybe
regain
he
his
makes
magic?
a gold bath.
I feel like it should have. Like,
Yeah.
gold. Oh, and then, of course, Nova deducts points from Tori and Darcy for missing the assembly.
Bitch.
But she did sound a little sympathetic about what happened to her at the pool.
No, I think she said, I'm sympathetic. I felt like her actions really said otherwise.
Yeah. Like, she kind of just goes, you all right? Taps her on the shoulder. Okay. Anyways.
Points off.
Like, glad you didn't die.
The next day, Caleb comes to visit Tori, and she quickly hides the gold and the dagger, and Caleb comes in, they're talking, and I feel like this entire conversation is him making an excuse to her why he's not responsible for what happened to her. And it really just frustrated me.
Yeah, it's like he comes in and he's like, but babe, there was nothing I could do about it. Don't be upset with me.
I tried to get you away from it.
Yeah, I tried, but you weren't listening. Obviously, I'm not at fault here.
He kind of blames her at some point with the whole, I tried, you should have just come up to my room. And she points out that he made no effort to help Darcy.
Yep.
And that if the vampire code is the only reason that he has to not be an asshole towards her, she's like, give it up. You don't need me as a source so you can be your assholeness self. Like,
it's actually quite selfish if you think about it. Because it's like,
Yeah.
if you really care about that, you would just give me up as a source. And then you would just join them.
I felt like he was trying to make himself feel better.
oh yeah, I
Yeah.
think so too.
For sure.
And he makes all these statements about how, he's got siblings and he has to fight for his position, and it's not an automatic thing that he will get. He may even have to fight his mother at some point for the seat. But just the mere existence of the Vegas will make people wonder, shouldn't they be in charge because they're the strongest? And I love that Tori's like, Power doesn't equal good leadership skills. You could end up with a group of vindictive assholes for leaders who try to drown people who get in their way.
You should print that out and put it on the wall at work.
I should.
Oh my god. Oh Lord.
Oh,
The trouble we'd be in.
it's just a quote from a book.
Yeah, you can blame Caroline Peckham.
Yeah.
And
Suzanne Valenti.
yeah.
So this part, Caleb kind of also tries to gaslight her, where he's like, I know that you are just like us because you want to get back at us. And I'm like, well, duh. You did things to her. Of course she wants to get back at you. That doesn't make her just as bad as you.
Yeah, well, I
That
mean,
bothers me.
I think at this point, it's like the lay of the land. You have to go with what you're given. And if that's the only thing they're going to understand.
I hate that too, though, because even in like real life, when
Yes.
you've got people that do things just out of hatred, and then you've got the people that have to react to that, it's not the same. It's not coming from the same place. One place enjoys it, and one is trying to protect themselves.
Yeah.
Which,
and
by
a
the way,
sense
is
of
a
justice.
sign of narcissism. But yeah, I agree. In real life, like, people will do things to you, and then when you react to them, they're like, see, you're just like me. I'm the victim now. But no, the twins don't go out of their way to make other people's lives miserable. They only react. So no, it doesn't make them like them. And I just want to strangle Caleb for that.
Also, they aren't trying to kill the boys.
That too.
They're not trying to kill them. They're
Yeah.
just fucking with them, which is honestly better. Way funnier.
Yeah, their plans basically like ruin the boy. Well, not ruin, but the boy's reputation takes a hit. Whereas Tori drowned. So
Yeah.
Yeah. And the boys intentionally target their worst fears. And obviously the girls are going to attempt to target weak spots as well. But that's because they have to find those weak spots so that they can react, right?
Yeah.
But the boys literally take it to the nth degree.
Yeah, but at the same time, like even with Max, she doesn't use that against him.
Yeah.
And that could be hugely beneficial.
She might later.
Even if she did, it still doesn't make her the same.
I agree.
So Darcy heads to Venus Library to find that book that Orion sent her. She clearly knows how to use the Dewey Decimal System because she finds it right away. Sadly, it's not a spell, but a potion that's going to take a couple of days to make, and she doesn't know where to get the ingredients, but she's determined.
Another point in favor that Orion is Snape.
That's so true!
Potions.
Oh my gosh. So there's a book next to that book about earth summoning, in which she finds a spell to summon werewolf fleas.
So excited for that.
She gets an idea. Oh, I can't wait.
It's harmless, but it's like such a personal hell. You know what I mean? I'm so excited.
As somebody whose legs have itched for the last 3 years,
Oh my god.
and my doctors can't figure out what's going on, I can attest to how, like, oh my god.
Yeah. It's pretty good just desserts.
It is. And it will have bonus consequences. But I wanted to talk to Christy. In the advanced section of that book, they find a spell that allows you to summon bigger animals and push your will into them. And again, as a writer, if you mention it, it should come up later. Mm-hmm. How are you feeling about that?
I definitely feel like that could be when we're talking about some of the murders.
Not a bad theory. Like if you can push your will into an animal, can you do that with a
And that there being like a nymph.
yeah, or something. But then we also have the coercion too. We already have that.
Yeah, but isn't pretty much everybody there can't be coerced unless it's just somebody extremely powerful just because
They have mental shields.
Yeah.
So you can eventually learn if you're strong enough to block out coercion, the siren manipulation, Cyclops interrogation, and other things.
But if that's the case, then how the hell would they even be helpful as an investigator unless it's like newbies?
Because if they aren't powerful enough, like if the Cyclops or the siren is powerful enough, they can break those shields. But if you say the Vega twins or the heirs decided to make a shield,
Okay, so you'd have to be extraordinarily powerful. Okay.
I just honestly thought that you might have like this rage of like controlling animals in that way.
I guess so when I think about it in this world, it would be more along the lines of like a fey animal and not really like kind of like Seth with the werewolf. And I would love somebody controlling Seth. That would be hilarious. So that's more of how I think of it. If it was like an actual animal, it'd be vastly different.
Well, the bell rings and Darcy heads off to class. She meets up with Sophia, Diego, and Tori.
Diego's back. Briefly.
Caleb comes down the hall and he makes some comment about them being orderless fae pretending to belong at the school. Tori snipes back, which actually kind of turns Caleb on a little, I think. And then Sophia mutters that she does have an order. And Caleb's like, well, being a Pegasus is almost worse than not having an order at all. Which then spurs on the twins' decision to spread a rumor that he likes Pegasus ass.
Oh my god.
Let's talk about how the fact that why does the Pegasus Order seem to be framed as like the LGBTQ community?
That's what I was about to say.
Yeah. Being gay. Because as we'll see later with Darius' dad and Xavier, poor Xavier is beat the shit out of for being a Pegasus. And
A purple Pegasus.
Purple Pegasus. Let's be
Lilac.
Lilac.
Yes, yes, yes.
Rainbow wings and a golden horn.
Yes.
God forbid.
Yeah. I felt like the description of that definitely hit like the anti.
Yeah, like it's very clearly like, oh, he's not manly enough or he's not monster enough or something for his dad, and it just reads very homophobic. Now I'm not sure that is like an indicator for anything that the authors believe. I'm sure that's not the case, but in this world it reads that way.
In this world, the dragons are on this end of the spectrum in power, and the Pegasus are on this end of the spectrum. They are the low end. There's very few things that are less powerful than they are. And since this world revolves around power...
But also, if you remember when we first talked about this book, when we first started reading this book, we were like, okay, there's some internalized misogyny here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That, the fact that the Pegasus is the lowest on the order and it's the most feminine, like classically feminine, it's sparkly, it's glittery, it flies in the clouds... Yeah. That has to mean that it obviously is the least powerful.
They're not the least powerful. What?
Okay, repeat that. Rewind.
What? You can say what you said.
It can stab you up the butthole with its horn.
But yeah, they're not the least powerful. The actual least powerful is the rats. But they are on the lower end of the spectrum.
Okay, so you're telling me the only thing below them
are
rats, which still doesn't. I feel like my feelings still stand. I feel, but yeah,
valid.
Yeah, I feel. I don't know. It's just something to note that whether it's an internalized misogyny or not, it's clearly going within those parameters of thought.
Which is kind of crap because I know, like, for my D&D character and her wonderful, of course, they made her a horse, but she's supposed to be unicorn. Supposed to be Sweet Tooth the Homemaker.
Can't.
A deranged unicorn. Come on now. What is scarier than that?
I mean, have you ever seen an angry horse? They're terrifying.
Yeah. And you put a horn on those suckers?
Yeah.
I forget what...
wings?
And the horse girls are the most terrifying, let's be honest.
I forget what country it came from, but in the Alona Andrews books, the Kate Daniel series, they come across unicorns that are basically murder machines.
Yes.
And they're supposed to be from, like, some culture in the world, but I was like, I never thought of a unicorn as, like, this psychotic...
That's what I envisioned for D&D. Sweet Tooth the Homemaker.
This is also the first time we get some... fire back from Sophia. She's like, the next time I'm in Pegasus form, I'm gonna kick his ass with my left hoof.
I was proud of her for that moment. I was like, good for you, Sophia.
Too little, too late.
Christy's a hater.
She's gonna have to. It would have to be something major for me to like her. I'm not saying I can't, but it will. She will have to almost die.
I just think it's funny, and I want to, like, this will be next episode, but there's going to be a situation that involves Geraldine. That is something that Sophia did that you hated her for. I want to know your reaction to that.
Dun dun dun.
Am I gonna be disappointed in Jerry?
We'll see.
Okay. All right.
But you also have to think of it like, so the fact that they don't help each other out when it's a one-on-one fight, that is a cultural thing for them. It's not a just decision to step back and...
I get that aspect, like of, okay, this is how we do things. But for Sophia, it was, even in a group setting, was like, even though other people are stepping in to help you, sorry, I can't. Like, ooh, what's over there,
I don't remember her saying that, honestly.
Me either.
I don't think she
it
was...
was like in the first one. There was something she said that was basically like, I kind of took it as like, well, I can be nice to you, but if something comes up, then I'm out.
I'll have to go back and reread because I didn't, like, when I was editing, I didn't...
Yeah, I'll go back and
remember
look
that
because I
part.
just remember that's the way that it sounded to me, was kind of like, I don't mind being nice to you and helping you out in here, but if shit goes down, like...
I think I remember her saying, like, yeah, I'm here to, like, help you and, like, tell you things, but, like, if, in a fight, I'm not much use, is I think what I remember.
I think it was something like that, but it was, I just kind of took it as, I'm not going to stick my neck out there for you either.
Mhm.
Like, I'm not going to go up against the heirs. Of course, here comes Jerry, like, bitch, come at me,
Geraldine is also very powerful.
Yeah.
Her power rivals the heirs. She's not as powerful as they are.
But they're a little afraid of her a little bit.
Oh, yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
All right, so back to wherever we were.
Yes. Back to the...
In comes Kylie fucking Major, who makes some lame comments. Tori and Darcy fight back, but when Tori implies that Seth is around campus kissing other girls, Kylie loses it and turns into her order form. She is a Medusa.
Which I think is actually really cool, and she doesn't deserve that, personally.
Ryan starts his lesson on bloodlines by assaulting Tyler again. We learn that Hydras are the most recently extinct order, unless the Vega twins emerge as one, and dragons are very rare, but then class is interrupted by an FIB announcement, and then Orion changes the topic to nymphs. So we talked a lot about them last episode, I think. We do learn that the nymphs are from the Shadow Realm, which is another mirror world. Who thinks that that's going to play a major part?
Yeah. We already have a lot of stuff with shadows, like beware of the shadow and flame or whatever it was.
Yeah. And Tyler's like, that's where the fifth element comes from. And what the fuck is that, Tyler?
Dude, Tyler's so funny to me.
He's so dopey.
He's an idiot.
Yeah. Orion's like, don't ever bring that up in my class again. The one thing I wanted to note, though, was that when Orion says, when the nymphs are near, you'll notice by a draining sensation, but it's also accompanied by a bluish flash.
A bluish flash.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I feel like I'm missing something.
I guess I am too.
What did I miss? We're so disappointing to Brittany.
Pick one.
Two stupid people.
No, I mean, it's also because I've been editing and I've listened to the same things being said over and over again. We talked about Darcy's walk into her first liaison class, and there's a bluish flash in the woods, and she sees this shadowy, hulking form.
Interesting. So that could have been a nymph.
Could have been. A nymph did kill Astrum.
We think. We're assuming.
So the FIB believes.
Or they want you to believe.
But it didn't attack her.
Maybe Darius scared it off by his presence.
But did she ever feel like she was being drained?
She does not mention that, no.
Not in the forest.
Yeah. So I would think she would notice, like... Because don't they notice it in the alley?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So they didn't notice the same thing. So it would be... Okay. So... And I don't know if you're even going to answer this. So for a nymph, like say they were just wanting to say hi. Like, they're not wanting to take your power. They're just wanting to say, hey, what's up? Would you still notice a draining? Is it just them being physically near you or just if they're attacking you?
Just if they're attacking. Because they also say that nymphs have a fae form, and they literally, one of their attack styles is to approach somebody in their fae form. And it's kind of like an order power. So I think they have to be, and I'm not sure about this, but I think they have to be in their nymph form in order to drain. But I could be wrong.
So they could have shifted like in there and that could have been the blue flash.
Could be.
Can they imitate other people? So could they have imitated like Darius? Or if they just take
Well, we
their
talked
own
about
fae?
that.
We did?
We did a little bit where we were like, can they shapeshift?
Can they shapeshift? But can they shapeshift into something specific? Like, can they imitate somebody else? Like, they could pretend to be Darius.
This one I'm going to keep my mouth shut on.
I feel like that's a yes.
Yes. It's got to be a yes.
So, was it a nymph that was Darius?
If it was a nymph, you would think that he would have attacked Darcy, but they didn't.
Unless they want her for...
And you think that the other heirs would notice if somebody replaced
I think they're
Darius.
too fucking stupid. I don't think they would have noticed shit. But
They grew up together.
But maybe
you
the
would
nymphs
know.
don't want to attack her because she would be their common, like their friend. You know, the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
What if the dead body that is Astrum is actually a nymph?
I mean, Astrum did have firepower.
Yeah.
He could have killed and then burned the body.
Yeah.
He could be out there hiding.
I do not think
Yeah.
it was Astrum that died.
I don't know if Astrum's alive, but as of yet, I can't see the benefit for him being alive, so I'm not sure.
Mm-mm. I mean, really, when he was alive, he wasn't much of a benefit anyway.
Exactly.
But, you know.
So Orion says, you know, if you come across a nymph, you're freshman, you can't really fight, but you can try shields. But your first thing is you should run. And if they get too close, you're dead anyway.
Great. Awesome.
Yeah. So FIB agent Francesca interrupts the class. Darcy does take note that this is the stupidly hot model that Orion was on a date with when they went to the bar. She wants to speak with Tori and Darcy. And Orion grabs Darcy's wrist and she notices the raised tattoo on his arm that is for Leo. So there's our final confirmation that there is something going on. There's connection between the two of them. And then he says, "You have detention for stealing my stardust."
No, he says, you had detention, and then she's like, why? And he's like,
Stardust, Miss Vega.
yeah.
Oh, the tension between those two.
Just
I
want to
love
be in
it.
the room witnessing that. Imagine being the student next to her, like, what is going on?
Do you feel
already?
that?
Seriously, just kiss already. If they were dolls, I'd be like smushing them.
So Francesca escorts them to the interrogation room. Sadly, Seth is already there. He shows off his lovely new hair bracelet.
How disgusting is that? Let's just talk about the fact that he has her human hair. I'm sorry, I'm yelling. Let's just talk about the fact that he has her human hair braided around his wrist like a fucking psycho.
Why is this shocking?
Like a serial killer who keeps trinkets of his kills.
It is a trophy kill.
Yeah, it's a trophy kill.
It's Seth.
Just like you said, I just have to say, you called it from the beginning, my friend. He's a psycho.
So he tries to touch Darcy, and she uses her fire magic to burn him. And he's like, "Didn't I break you well enough?" And she turns to him and says, "Iron is made in the hottest part of the fire. You didn't break me. You forged me."
Okay, badass moment, but also a little bit cringe. But I'm proud of her. It's a great line, but it's also like,
Kind of long.
yeah.
Like he would have been like walking off.
Oh, man.
Come back, I haven't dropped the hammer yet.
So Francesca, it turns out, is a Cyclops. And after asking which Vega wants to volunteer some information, she dives into Darcy's head to explore her memories about the falling star messages. Tori's the one who volunteered, so of course Darcy was the one who got the horrendous treatment of being violated like that. And of course, it makes her pass out and feel ill afterwards. And then Francesca was also like, I'm aware of your heritage, and that means nothing here. And I really want to be like, did you tell that to Seth? Did you?
Oh, yeah, I just want to kick her.
Yeah.
But she also fucked up. If she had just gone and respected Tori's decision, she also would have seen who burned down Darius's room.
She did.
Yeah,
She did. She could have seen that.
That's so true. She was so close.
And of course, Tyler came in. Though why didn't she see Tori? I mean, I think she might have had to look for that because Darcy did see Tori on her bed surrounded by Darius's gold and knew about it.
Yeah, I was wondering about that as I was reading was Darcy did speak to Tori about it. So why wouldn't she have seen that?
Maybe it was in the specifics of the question. Do you know something about this? Did you do something?
Yeah.
Well, no.
That's what I'm thinking is that she was looking for something very specific about Falling Star. And so that's the memory she accessed.
Yeah.
Could be.
So we get to Darius's first point of view. He and Orion are headed back to Darius's home estate to retrieve some gold so he can replenish his magic. He's late meeting Orion, which Orion calls out, which is funny. But also because he was following Roxy Vega, as he says. Like, why is he following Roxy?
And that's the question. What do they want? What are they trying to find out?
Because, I mean, it comes up over and over and over again in these chapters that she goes running and he's just there. And he's always there.
It makes me question, if they're following them that often, how the fuck don't they know certain things?
That's what I was about to say.
Are you stupid or are you just pretending you don't know?
And when did the following start?
Yeah.
And is somebody following Darcy?
And yeah, again, if so, how do they not know the shit that they're pulling? How did they not know that she burned his room to a crisp?
Well, they were at the assembly at that point. And if they weren't at the assembly, then Darius would have gotten minus 150.
Well, but they talk about it later. And like they kind of talk about it. And then there's that moment where Tori has to move things. And so it's like, how could they miss it if they're following them that often?
Yeah.
Very true.
Are they just massively choosing the wrong times to follow?
I don't know.
Right. Orion and Darius have this weird relationship, which they have to hide because of the whole student-teacher positions that they hold. And, you know, people might think that they're having an affair. So Orion is like giving Darius his clothes to wear. And they're like kind of buddy-buddy, even though...
Why do they have to hide it?
Well, later on, we do learn that teacher-student relationships are very frowned upon. So if anybody were to accuse Orion of having an affair with Darius...
I don't mean that. How come they don't... Why isn't it common knowledge that he is his protector? Because it's not... I know it's something that doesn't happen that often, but it's not also completely outlawed as long as the person volunteers. So why wouldn't they go ahead and just tell people that so they would understand why there's a connection between them, that he's his protector?
I think Principal Nova obviously has to know, but that is a good question.
Why is it a secret?
Yeah.
What does it mean?
Is it because he's protecting him from the other heirs?
Brittany is like bursting at the seams.
She wants to say something.
It's a good question because now I feel like it's a big deal and I didn't before.
While you're thinking about that, Orion says that at least Darius will get to see Xavier, who's not been talking to him.
Poor Xavier.
And it is heavily implied that Lionel who is Darius's father, is very abusive. That we learned that during this conversation. So they agreed to ride together in Orion's Ferrari. But Darius was looking forward to riding his bikes. Who does that remind us of?
Yeah, so I mentioned this outside of the podcast. I just casually came up to Brittany one day and was like, so, Darius has a bike. But I remember reading it and thinking, one bike. And in this passage, she actually says multiple bikes. And I was like, oh, so Tori's going to lose it once she finds out that he has a bike. And she's 100% going to steal one. Like, she's got to steal one, right? Yeah. Like, that's so Tori. Also,
it is so Tori.
It's so perfect for their dynamic. She's definitely going to take one. And it's probably going to be his favorite, right?
It would be his favorite, wouldn't it?
I'm assuming at that point that it won't be that they're hiding their hijinks from the heirs, because blatantly he's going to know.
That's what I'm thinking as well.
Would depend. Like, how would he know?
I'm pretty sure his bike is going to be one of a kind, and if she is riding it, he's going to know.
Well, her background is that she steals them and sells them. She doesn't, I mean, she likes riding them.
Yeah, but who's going to buy an heir's bike knowing that it's stolen? A nymph?
Well, yeah, I mean, that depends on if they know it's an heir's bike.
Surely they would. Again, I'm assuming his is like a one of a kind. Like, anyone would be able to tell it was his kind of bike.
I don't know. We'll see. I just really think that she's going to steal one.
Oh, yeah.
That's if she steals one.
Or multiple.
But I have a feeling she would drive it right past them.
Me too.
That would be her, yeah.
I also think there's going to be a scene with both of them riding on the same bike. Like, Darius is driving. It's like a
one horse trope.
Yes. Like, get on the back. I'll drive you around. And she's like, no, you get behind me. That'd be amazing.
So they also, they chit-chat about Marguerite and Darius dumping her. And then this is where they mention that the draining dagger is gone and they have to find it. It couldn't have melted in the fire because Orion's like, not even dragon fire would have melted it. But they have to find it before the FIB find it because they will go to jail if it's linked back to them.
Yeah, I remember that. It's like, where did you get this dagger? Did you steal it?
And didn't they say it in a way? I kind of got the feeling that if it was found, regardless of who it was found with, they would know it was Darius.
They said that there was a very good chance that it would be linked back to Darius.
Yeah.
I mean, and the person say, like, they caught Tori, she can say, yeah, when I burned Darius's room down, I found this dagger.
Yeah.
Why was it in his room?
I just figured it was something about the dagger itself that would be a direct link.
Yeah, I mean, there could be. We don't know. So Fran tells Lance that there are going to be raids because they think somebody is helping the nymphs get onto campus, and Orion's going to volunteer to help find the dagger. Do we think somebody is helping them get on campus?
Yes, I think it's Diego.
It's Diego.
Sorry. Yes, I think someone's helping them, and why wouldn't it be Diego?
So I'm guessing you think it's Sophia?
No.
Is it Orion?
Possibly. I don't think Sophia is brave enough to help anybody. I think, yeah.
I don't actually think it's Diego, but I just think Diego's up to something. But I have no real theory.
Okay. Well, let's talk about the bond now. Because it draws them together. They literally cannot be physically apart for a long time, with the exception of when Orion went to the mortal world. And
you mean the unbreakable vow?
The unbreakable vow. It's literally permanent. Like, it cannot be broken. But they do mention that they've tried to break these bonds before.
It begs the question, why did they have to do it? Who made them do it? What made them...
Lionel says that he put it on them.
But how does he just put that on them? Like, what? Don't they have to agree?
Yeah, that's what it sounded like. It sounded like Orion agreed to it.
Yeah, like later when Geraldine's discussing it, Geraldine makes it sound like it's an agreement.
Yeah, it's an outdated practice. So when they're talking about it and Geraldine brings it up, she's like, well, there are laws against forcibly doing this now. But... like, nowadays, they're still being done. It's just you have to go through these trials and assessments before it's allowed. But it seems to be in the past, it has been forced upon people before.
Interesting. Like an arranged marriage kind of situation, or
a servant. Like a servant.
Yeah, servant
thing. More like.
Yeah.
Like,
Because
the Prince
liter-
and Jeeves.
Yeah, literally this bond makes Orion feel like he needs to give up his life for Darius.
Yeah.
He feels Darius's pain.
Yeah.
And he is compelled beyond everything to help Darius. And even Darius is like, his choices were taken away from him, but I hope he would help me because he likes me. But I don't know, because I can never be sure.
Yeah, because it is mentioned that it seems like they were childhood friends, or they've known each other for a very long time.
Their families are like linked together all over the place.
Which again, okay, let's talk about real quick my theory. Which at first I was like, okay, Darius, if we're gonna go the Harry Potter fanfic route, then I was thinking Darius is Sirius Black, because if we're talking about the Marauders, then Sirius is the one with the wealthy family. Sirius is the one whose family is connected to all the pureblood and has all the money and connections and stuff. And then his brother Xavier would be Regulus, but that doesn't quite make sense. It doesn't like completely add up, but it's interesting.
So can he only feel Darius's pain or any emotion?
I think it might be any emotion.
So if he's getting laid,
I think it's only pain, honestly. But they are drawn to each other to such a degree that,
When Orion feeds.
yeah, when Orion feeds, he might occasionally get a boner. Yeah. So they like try not to feed off of each other because of how close I think even Darius mentions that they've not yet resorted to spooning, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of mentions that, yeah.
it definitely felt like there was an attraction there.
it's the bond. It definitely makes the bonded, the ward and the guardian feel there's an intimate connection towards each other because their souls are connected.
So it's a soul bond.
Yeah. I wonder if they would have married the two in the past in order to have that intimate connection where it wouldn't be such a drain.
I don't know if it would be married because literally the guardian is below the ward. The ward is considered the more important person, and Orion feels compelled to do as much as even give up his life for Darius.
Wouldn't that be hard, though, if you were married to somebody that was connected to someone like that? Because they would have a much more intimate connection then.
Yeah.
So, like, if Darius married Darcy, then
Not happening.
he would be more protective of Darius. I mean, Orion. Then, because it works both ways, doesn't it? Does he protect?
I mean, Darius is drawn to Orion, but Darius doesn't feel Orion's pain.
I think what I meant was if Orion married Darcy, he would still put Darius, have to put Darius first.
Yes.
Yes.
I would think so.
Be a very, yeah.
Yeah. And we'll see more about the bonds later, and you'll see how fucked up they can be.
Oh, good.
And that situation will come into play where somebody is married, and they have a bonded person to them.
Like one of the heirs is married.
No, it's somebody else.
That's already married at this point.
Yes.
I'm interested. Let's move on.
All right. So Darius
Sorry.
Darius gets home. He, walks past all the luxury cars, his collection of bikes, and meets his mom, where he doesn't have anything, Darius doesn't have a high opinion of his mother. He says she's vapid and only interested in pretty petty things, that he misses the idea of having a mother, and describes her as a walking, talking mannequin with no real emotions.
Hurtful
Yeah.
against your mom.
Yeah.
I mean, could be true, but a bit harsh.
I mean, being married to Lionel?
Yeah.
You would have to survive.
But she did stick her neck out for Xavier.
She did.
Yeah.
She did. And Darius is like, I'll never say a bad thing against my mom ever again.
Which I was kind of disappointed in Darius's reaction to
Yeah.
Xavier. Not his initial one, but when the dad comes in and he's like, oh my gosh, like really, like just, I don't know.
Yeah, Darius's reaction to the whole Xavier issue is it leaves a little to be desired. He's like, well, we can still pretend he's not a pegasus, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
As opposed to There's nothing wrong with him.
This is true, and I had that same reaction. Although you do have to remember that Darius's dad is right there, and Lionel, very much hates it. And he literally takes Darius after this meeting to his office to beat him for showing emotion in public. So had he not presented it this way?
Yeah.
Yeah, but wasn't it his point of view?
It was.
So we should have heard in his mind him thinking that, oh gosh, to protect myself for Xavier, I need to present it this way. But in his mind, he also had those same thoughts.
I mean, he also had thoughts of, oh my God, I'm scared for my brother.
Yeah.
Clear he cares for him and that he's worried about him, but it's also just a little sad because he does seem to still feel like the answer is not accepting him. There's just a lot of progress that needs to be made on behalf of the Pegasuses.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, Darius, I think the heirs need to make some character growth.
Yeah.
Which
I don't see that happening.
which they could. But, like, my thing is, he walks into the room. He's got glitter on the doorknob. And his first thought is, oh, I don't care if you're a vampire or a werewolf or... And then he's, like, horrified.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's like, not just any Pegasus, but, lilac.
Lilac doesn't even have the luck to be a black Pegasus or a, gray one or something.
Yeah.
What color is Tyler? He's like pink?
Silver.
Sophia's pink.
So after Lionel gives Darius his beating, Darius, there's got to be something wrong with that fire, and I'm going to pay back whoever did this.
Yeah, it's a little sad at that point because it's like he got put into this awful situation with his dad, so you kind of feel bad for him there. Mm-hmm. Because he responds to the fire in a reasonable way, which is very upset, and because other people saw it, his dad is just super pissed about it, and I hate that on his behalf.
Though I love that, not love, but it's very telling that his arrogance is the only people I can think of that hate me much are the Vega twins, but the thought of them doing it is ridiculous.
Yeah. Which that should have been.
Duh.
Yeah.
Of course it was them. All right. In Water Elemental class, Tori has a panic attack in the locker room kind of thing, but she bucks up and puts on her big girl bathing suit and goes out to the class. Max immediately starts in on Tori, but Washer steps in, disciplines him with a slap on the rump.
Gag.
Yeah. And then, gives Tori some points for courage, which, as much as I hate him, I'm like, points for you.
Surprising win.
Points.
I'm sorry.
You go ahead.
I was just going to say surprising win on Washer's point for giving them the good job.
Wait. On Washer's point.
On Washer. I'm so done with you, Christy.
Oh my God.
I hate him. He's so disgusting. Also, later when you're reading the book and they talk about him.
Yeah.
When they're like, oh, he watches porn all day? Ew!
It's his lust addiction, Lily. Lust addiction.
It's so gross. Okay, you can call it whatever the fuck you want. He's got issues.
He does have issues. So then, Washer gets called away. The boys start in on the twins again, and Geraldine drags over Angelina, who is the newest member of the Ass Club Society, or whatever they want to call it.
The Ass Club.
The Ass Club. And Geraldine's like, I just realized y'all have never seen my orc form before. And starts stripping. Angelina starts stripping. And
it literally says she pulls a titty out. And I'm like, oh my God, the way they wrote this is crazy.
Max is like, she's just a guard dog. But he also can't keep his eyes off of her.
Interesting.
Wow, and for as much fun as they make, and then she points out that her poison is
lethal.
It's lethal to them. It's amazing how they back away once she changes.
Well, From the way I looked at it, it was like they realized that they couldn't necessarily pick on them alone.
Mm-hmm.
So they do have some backup thanks to Geraldine. Mm-hmm. And I love that when she turns, she literally bows to the twins first and like sticks her ass at Max and Darius. I'm like, girl has no shame whatsoever.
Yeah, that was my first thought. No shame.
Love her.
She's great.
And of course, this makes Tori like say she swears she'll never take the ass club for granted ever again. Because not only did they make the airs go away, but her panic attack is gone.
Which is sad though, because I feel like Tori only sees Geraldine as like an asset, not really a friend.
I think at first, yes.
Yeah. And I mean, I know there are relationships like that in life, but it's just like sad to read it that way.
Yeah.
And so that night, Tori's awakened by this weird song that's drawing her across campus to water territory.
Oh my gosh, this part.
Where she sees Max sitting on a rock. Magic closes in around her, and Max says they can't leave until they share a kiss. Which, for the duration of the kiss, his power reverses and she gets to feel his feelings. And he lets a secret slip because she's more powerful than him.
This is an odd scene in the book. Not just because they have to kiss each other and it's like full-on makeout, but also just because we're obviously going to see this brought up later. And I don't know, I'm conflicted because Max obviously has some part of him that is not a terrible human being, but then he chooses to act that way anyways. And so I'm a bit conflicted reading his sad backstory. I love a good villain, but I'm not quite sure about it.
Gotta appear strong for the masses.
I think he's worse than a villain. I think he's a follower.
Yeah, you've said that a few times about Max.
I think he's a villain, at least. They know what they're doing. And there's like, they're not ashamed of.
Do you feel that way about the other heirs?
No.
Just
I think
him.
it's just Max.
He's Wormtail.
Yeah, exactly. I think if somebody more powerful, I think if the Vega twins became like more powerful and started really like that they were the ones to beat, I think he would shift allegiances really quickly. I don't think he would ever be loyal to anybody. At least at this point. Maybe he'll grow some, but
I think it is kind of cute though that he was like, I can't remember if it's here or if it's that first chapter with Caleb, but he like likes to feed on fear. The idea that he likes to feed on fear because it takes it away from the person. That's kind of cute.
He doesn't like to feed on happiness because even though it makes him happy to feed on happiness, it makes the person sadder.
Yeah.
He fed on.
I like that concept if that were really him.
It is
that
him.
was only from Caleb's point of view.
No, that was here.
I know, but even like with everything else, like with him, he's never displayed that type of
He
response.
doesn't display it. We haven't had a POV for him yet, which we will get. But literally, Tori is in his mind, so it might as well be his POV for that duration, for the duration of that kiss. So when he said he feeds on people's fear because it takes away their fear, or he doesn't like to feed on their happiness because it takes their happiness, that is from him.
That was Caleb that said that.
That was in the beginning. Caleb theorizes it. He mentions it. Caleb mentions it in the beginning, but here it's confirmed that is the way Max is.
Yeah, Caleb is like, I think he feels this way, and then we see a little bit more about it in the kiss.
See, I didn't feel like it was enough to really fully confirm that he's had so many opportunities to display that, and yet he's never
displayed it. No,
well, that's why I felt weird because it's like that's what we hear from this passage is that he's actually not that shitty of a guy, but then we don't get a lot of it.
Words versus action.
Yeah, he thinks it makes him look weak. And his parents have pushed that, especially since sirens are known for being like therapists and taking people's emotions and helping them heal, basically. He's got to be this strong man.
It's easy to take advantage of him.
Yes.
if people realize that he doesn't enjoy that. It's really easy to take advantage of that kind of like kindness in a way. And he needs it anyway, so it's like.
And honestly, like taking other people's fears makes him feel that. So it is not good for his psyche either.
Yeah.
And so he can't, if somebody were to try and take advantage of that, he can't do it all the time. Otherwise, he'd be more fucked up than he is.
Oh, but Tori enjoys the kiss. Let's talk about that for a second.
That's what I was looking for. Tori said, I love that she was like, shut up. I need to focus on your looks and forget about your personality so that I can kiss you.
Yeah. And then she starts kissing him and she's like, wait a minute.
So I think
I'm enjoying this.
I think that was the magic.
Yeah, probably. Probably so.
Like even Tori's like, does it have to be on the lips? But yeah, no, the magic kind of intensifies, especially since he's pushing lust at her.
Yeah.
And that's how he distracts whoever he's kissing from going further. It's just to get the base lust or whatever feeling that he's feeling. But they do talk about how we were brought up Elysian mates for the first time. And Max is like, I don't care if my Elysian mate is another order. I'm not allowed to marry them. And Tori's like, I'm going to marry for happiness.
Mm-hmm.
But it seems like for the heirs, they have to marry within their order in order to keep their seat.
The bloodline.
The bloodline.
The purebloods.
Yeah. That sounds a little Harry Potter-ish too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the mudbloods and...
Who's Voldemort?
Lionel.
That's what I was...
Yeah, that's why Darius is Draco and Orion is Snape.
And the bond is there.
Yeah.
I'm
So...
assuming he wants the throne to himself.
Who?
Lionel.
Well, I mean, he probably does, but he can't right now because all the counselors are the same power level. Same with the boys. They're all the same power level, so there's...
Yeah, but with the draining dagger, couldn't he have drained their power? Oh, is that how the dad know, or that somebody would know that he took it because it's the dad? So if
That's what I was thinking, is maybe it's a family
took it,
dagger.
and he's more worried that Lionel will know who took it, not so much the FIB.
He doesn't mention that he's afraid of Lionel getting in.
Not
Or
getting it,
knowing.
He just says that they'll know that it was him.
And he does, like, we didn't mention it earlier, but they are like, we'll have to intensify our training.
Yeah, I remember
What
that.
could it mean?
Those are good thoughts.
I think so he could fight Lionel.
He does say that he's been undermining him. And that he wasn't, when he was in Xavier's room, he was like, I'm not strong enough to face him now.
Yeah.
Speaking of Professor Ew, he's taken over tarot class. And instead of doing tarot cards, they're doing palmistry. And of course, he has to feel up all the girls and the boys too. And he tells Darcy something very interesting about her potentially having a forbidden romance in her future.
As everyone says, no shit.
Yeah, as we predicted. Just like I predicted. Orion, obviously.
Yeah, and then Sophia brings up the fact, quite conveniently right after this, that it's illegal to date professors. And teachers will be arrested, they'll be power shamed, which apparently is something so horrible that you take away their rank in society, and then they have to literally make their way up from the bottom, getting respect from the lowest fae. And it's very hard for them to come out of that. And that's if they don't go to jail.
That just seems really excessive. Considering all the other bad shit the Fae do, that seems really excessive.
Like, that's where they draw the line.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
It's okay to, like, maim and torture, but...
Yeah.
Don't date your professor.
So the twins' palms also indicate there is a bunch of potential deaths in the girls' future as well. What do we think? Like, duh?
Like, multiple deaths?
Yeah. Says they have a worrying amount of potential deaths written on their palms for the future, where they could die, they might not.
Party?
To be honest with you, I did not even think there would really be any deaths in these books until Brittany said something the other day.
Yeah, I said there are 3 characters that you've been introduced to that won't make it to the end.
Right. And honestly, Sophia, I just really had not prepared myself for that because I, for some reason, didn't take this book to be one of those.
There is a surprising amount of violence and death and bad things that happen in this series. I was surprised as well.
Even Harry Potter loses some.
Yeah, it's true. I guess I just didn't foresee it coming, like, realistically, but that was just a naivete on my part. But if I had to guess, it would be Seth. Chrissy's like, rejoice! Seth, Diego, and the girl that we met in the Ass Club.
Which one? And that is it Angelina?
Yeah, Angelica?
Angelica. She's Darius's bastard cousin.
Because I can't see other people dying. Maybe Principal Nova?
Ooh, that'd be nice.
Maybe a Principal Nova.
But I feel like Diego's death is going to be like, oh, there he goes. Like, it's not going to be like a big moment.
No, for sure, for sure. Well,
If he dies, you never know.
I don't know. I think he's going to die, and I think it's going to be like one of those catalyst deaths. It's like, oh no, like we have to avenge him or something like that.
Let's put his hat on the grave. Yeah.
Like Danica.
His beanie.
Like Danica in Crescent City.
No. That was not a meaningless death.
I said a catalyst.
It still tears me up. He was not really a catalyst. He might be like I've tripped and I get a little momentum, but not like Danica.
Harsh. I thought I was the Diego hater.
I know, but like the Danica thing is like
You're like, ugh, not the
super
same.
protective. Like
Yeah.
it still tears me up to
I
think
know,
about the
Danica
third book.
is-
Wow.
But anyways, I was just trying to say, like, I could see Diego's death being a catalyst for something. Maybe it was unfair to compare him to Danica. But anyway, I do think he's gonna die. I could see Sophia dying, but because you said earlier that she ends up with someone,
That doesn't mean she won't die. Finding your love in this series doesn't mean that you'll make it.
Gosh, she's
I'm
gonna
tired
be to
of
the
you, Brittany.
fucking end of this book, isn't she? Damn it. Of course she's gonna stick around.
There will be people who will find even their Elysian mate who don't make it to the end of this series.
Okay, so if your Elysian mate dies, can you mate again? Or do you try to like
I
dig
think
into
it's
the
supposed to be
grave?
like a one
We'll
of a kind.
talk more about that later.
Okay.
Okay, so
You're, like
that
digging
comes
for a
later.
body. Like, please. Now I'm picturing like Seth like digging his little doggy butt down a grave. What's the
Oh my god,
oh my god, oh my god.
The Seth hatred is great every time.
So Washer uses his siren gifts to make Kylie admit how jealous she is of Darcy and a whole bunch of stuff about Seth. And which then Tyler posts on Facebook. And Seth has a reaction.
Tyler is funny, but he's also fucking stupid.
He is.
God. But also it makes sense that Seth is sniffing the bracelet because he's a dog.
So Orion reschedules Darcy's liaison meeting, but then doesn't show. And so she leaves, runs into Seth, and he's beating up Tyler. And in fact, Seth ends up hunting her instead. So she runs to the library.
Which, by the way, bitch librarian gives her up. That is a privacy issue. We would not do that.
Also, just make a bad name for us librarians. We really don't appreciate that.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
But then she runs out the emergency exit, which I laughed at so hard because how many times has that happened? It's a real life thing. Sets off the alarm, and then Orion snatches her into a dark corner and hides her from Seth.
Yes, where he makes one of Washer's
Oh my
point.
god. But the sexual tension in that scene where he grabs her, I was like, oh, oh.
The sexual tension. Sorry.
Then he's gonna slide his hand up to her stomach, right above her waistband, kind of
was like,
caress her.
I was like, he loves her so much. He likes her so much, but he refuses to admit
Then
it.
he pounces her ass out the like door.
Right?
Yeah, she turned around and he's like, "Move it, Miss Vega. They're gone."
Like, anyways, get out.
And then Darcy tries to go back to Air House, but Orion insists that they still have a liaison session to complete. So he throws her over his shoulder and heads to his office.
Yeah, but they're not supposed to be together, so why is the penalty so harsh if it's completely fine?
They're
to
not
do that
supposed to be
yourself?
together in a sexual relationship.
What about that doesn't seem sexual?
You mean him throwing her over his shoulder? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's a little inappropriate, but it's like you could argue that that's not sexual.
Especially in this world in which Darcy literally worries that she will be beaten in detention because corporal punishment is allowed.
Like, give me a spanking.
Oh, and Washer gave Max a spanking earlier. So.
Yeah. That's so hot though. He's just like picking her up and like throwing her over his shoulder. Wish that were me.
Should we tell Johan?
Johan used to be able to do that.
So they go back to Orion's office. They talk about how Darcy and Tori shouldn't be out at night by themselves, use the buddy system.
And she shows him the tarot card.
Which he claims he doesn't understand, and then he admits that although he hated the Savage King and anyone associated with him for the longest time, he realizes that she and her sister are good people, although he refuses to bow still and vows to do whatever is necessary for Darius to still get the throne. He also apologizes to them and acknowledges that just because their father was savage doesn't mean that they will be. And I want to be like, duh. He lived with the knowledge of Lionel Acrux for how long? And he doesn't think Darius is a bad person because Lionel's a bastard.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like if they were against the Savage King, they would be just as against Lionel. He's the same.
You would think so, but that also makes you think. If Lionel's supposedly the better choice, then how bad was the Savage King? What he must have done must have been way worse.
Or he just didn't share. Maybe at least Lionel's smart enough to share so that they're okay with the savageness.
There's
As
like
long
an
as it doesn't
illusion of checks and balances.
Yeah.
But there's not.
Well, Lionel also presents himself to the public as nice and charming. The only people who know what a bastard he truly is his family. And Orion.
I think that's pretty typical.
Yeah.
Like, that's realistic.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Frustrating.
Yep.
Agnes' house is raided by the FIB, and Tori nearly burns all her clothes off so that she has the excuse to go back to her room to hide her contraband.
Orion kind of tries to follow her in. I was like, dude, wrong sister.
Right? He didn't trust her at all. That's why.
Yeah.
Probably knows she did it.
In her room, Tori shoves the gold and the dagger into a sock and tosses it out the window, changes, and then grabs Orion's jacket on the way out to return to him.
Nice save.
Yeah.
The jacket part.
This begs the question, if Darius is watching her and we know he's in the sky right now, why didn't he see?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I agree. That's what I'm saying. Like, when she started dropping it out the window, I was like, this is dumb. Like, someone's gonna see this. Like, I was like, you had no other options.
Yeah.
Like, you could have done something else. Put it in a wall. I don't know. A floorboard. Something.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was just like, you're gonna drop it out the window?
Yeah, I felt like that was very...
And then we find out they're being tailed. So I'm like, what do you mean they don't know that Tori has this golden dagger?
all that training and power, and they are the suckiest followers ever.
Darius literally lands, goes inside, and when Tori goes to air tower, instead of going back inside, he follows her and doesn't even hide it very well. After losing track of her, he literally walks around asking, "Have you seen Roxy?"
Yeah, literally. Like, you have all this power, but you're stupid. Like, I don't understand what went wrong.
Yeah.
You would think that they would be stealthier about it. I don't know. Maybe they're going to surprise us and tell us at the end that they knew all along. I don't know. It just seems like a cop-out if they do that.
Yeah, I feel like forced writing.
Yeah.
They needed it to go in a certain direction,
Yeah.
and we just kind of got forced storyline for that. Because even the dropping out the window, same way. Like, really? All those eyes everywhere, not one person is going to see that drop.
The FIB are there to raid, and nobody's like outside making sure that nobody throws something out the window.
Exactly. Like, that's textbook. The first thing you're going to want to do is chuck it out a window or, like, I don't know.
I mean, imagine if, say, you come into the house to raid and somebody's in their room and they hear and then they turn into a harpy and just fly away with the evidence.
Yeah.
It didn't make much sense, honestly.
Yeah. And then she, like, hides it in the ground and he just walks right by it. I'm confused. You know what I mean?
Yeah. He doesn't see her because she's stealthy and she picks it up.
Yeah. And if it's gold.
Well, it's in a
That's
sock.
true. Why didn't he pick
why
up
doesn't
on
he
it?
feel it?
Oh, yeah, because of his magic.
Yeah, so why doesn't he
Yes.
feel it? Because he's supposed to be...
Maybe it's not enough
Still
for
give
him
a
to
little
feel
tingle.
it.
Or the dagger calls to her. Does it not call to him?
Yeah, Orion did say that if he got close enough, he could feel
I
it.
just think it's...
And he was in her room.
There's holes here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Tori and Darcy decide to hide the loot in the Wailing Woods, since if it's found there, it can't be tied back to them, except for the fact that it's in Tori's sports bag.
They haven't learned how to use their earth magic yet, so they have to dig with their hands, and they're so engrossed in doing this that they don't hear somebody walking up.
Yeah.
Thank God it's Geraldine.
Team Jerry. Again.
She helps the twins out, and we learn that Geraldine is stacked.
Just kind of like picks up this big giant bag of gold and goes, whoop. No effort.
It makes me think, what is her description? What is the description of how she looks? Because in my brain, she's like a stereotypical, like, big girl. Like, she's a big girl.
And we know she has large breasts.
I mean, same, but it means nothing.
Tori calls her to have a raisin brand exterior.
Yeah, what does that mean?
Plain, I think.
I felt like she's like super muscular. Like
I do think that she is muscular and more bulky.
like a shot putter.
Yeah.
She's on the pitball team.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's how she is in my head.
Next, the FIB raid Air Tower, and Darcy invites Diego on her Mars lab heist. But first, poor Diego gets into a fight with Orion.
I did not like the way Orion treated Diego, but at the same time, Diego was, I don't know, like his reaction after the box is broken, like not helping out Darcy. After this, I was like, okay, I don't know how to feel about that. I mean, I get that he's upset, but at the same time, like, what the fuck is... I just cannot imagine doing that. Just, like, leaving my friend. Especially after that, you'd be upset. You'd want to...
Darcy really sticks her neck out for Diego. She is not supposed to interfere in a one-on-one fight. And honestly, she also kind of makes Diego look weak.
And again, I feel like Orion was trying to push him to push back.
Yeah.
And he wouldn't do it.
What are your thoughts on it, Christy?
So this was the only thing that I actually wrote a little bit of a rant
Give it
on.
to me.
So I'll
Lay it
just
on
read
me.
it. Orion is a douchebag. I rescind anything nice I said about him after what he did to Diego. If you can do that to someone, purposely humiliate them, then you have nothing to offer and are completely useless. I fucking hate him after that when he read his journal aloud. I hope all of his thoughts about Darius become public knowledge and they humiliate him and torment him for the rest of his life. I hope Francesca dies as well. However, I do think there's the possibility that Diego set him up and meant for him to read that. If that's the case, Brian deserves whatever happens to him.
Diego does go, please don't read it. And you tell any of these Fae to do something, and they're going to do the opposite.
Yeah, I do think there's a possibility.
I think there's something else going on with that box. I just don't know. The whole thing is just weird to me. Like, I do feel for him if it is real, because, God, having your journal read or having your diary read aloud is like peak trauma. But I don't know. Again, something's off with that kid. Something is not right. Like, you're in this weird altercation with Orion. You goad him into making it worse. And then when Darcy sticks her neck out to help him out, he literally goes into his room
And shuts the door.
Shuts the door, yeah. And then after that, when Darcy's like, that wasn't cool, I'm gonna overlook it because he's my friend, he's still not very helpful in the process of what they're doing afterwards. So it's like, who are you and what the fuck do you want? Something is missing here. I don't know. Or we're missing something as a reader. I'm not sure what's going on, but it's just something's not right. I don't know.
I feel like that they created a stand-in character and then forgot to go back and actually create the character for that part.
Damn.
And then it's like, oh, like, because you, like you said, even the part that I was so pissed about with Orion doing, I wasn't really upset for Diego personally,
Yeah.
to him.
Yeah.
Just the fact that Orion would do that to somebody as a teacher was shitty. But for Diego, it is really hard to connect to. There's nothing there to connect to as a character.
Yeah. I'm hoping there's something we're not seeing there on both sides that will enlighten us to the actions that happened in that scene. But at the same time, I just don't know. I think maybe Orion's just being Orion and the weird part is on Diego.
Might also have to do with some jealousy or something.
Yeah, I got that vibe as well, but I thought, okay, I had the vibe that Diego liked Darcy, but it keeps being pushed to the back because of his supposed relationship with Sophia. So I get this inkling in my head, I think Diego likes Darcy, and then I get this feeling that's like, oh, but they keep bringing up how he likes Sophia, and they keep pushing that, so I'm like, okay, it's probably not anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know.
You know how at the very end, when Orion walks away with Francesca and she puts her hand on Orion's arm, and Darcy feels this intense possessiveness of Orion. It could be that Diego doesn't necessarily like Darcy, but Orion views him as potential romantic evil.
I feel like
Darcy
Darcy is Diego's assignment.
Darcy brings it up later. She thinks that's his teaching style. And Diego starts talking about his family. And honestly, I feel like his family has traumatized him to the point that they broke his confidence. And this is where Orion needs to adjust his teaching style. Diego has this mentality of he was beaten and beaten and beaten. And unlike Darius, his confidence is broken and he can't fight back to an authority person. In a way, he's like the neurodivergent student, and Orion needs to adjust his teaching style.
Yeah. Or at least he's an example of the issues with Orion's teaching style.
Yeah. I mean, it works for a lot of his students. They get angry at him and they push back. When Darcy literally wrapped a vine around his neck and yanked him to the ground, he was like, so proud of you. I was hoping you'd do that.
I love that part. Can I just say, in the book, it doesn't seem like Darcy ever makes any effort to cover up her hair, which is both admirable, but at the same time, I feel unrealistic.
She does in the beginning. She wears that black cap whenever she's breaking into Orion's office, and then she loses it and later says she has nothing to cover it with.
They have all that money, though. Why wouldn't she order something?
Yeah.
She should.
I don't know why. In my brain, that was because she was trying to hide her identity, not because she was trying to hide her hair. But
Could be.
yeah.
And she does feel like if she wraps a scarf around it, it would be drawing more attention to it.
Fair. I think just my first thought would be wear a hat immediately.
Or shave it.
Yeah, or shave it.
But yes, I always wondered why she didn't shave her hair.
Diego and Darcy head to Mars' lab, but they don't know how to get in. So what does Darcy do? She texts Orion. He gives her the location, the code to the
Door, and this becomes a running thing, but Orion then's like, blue or green?
Oh, he's so flirty, that fuck. He's so fucking flirty. I'm sorry. I would be losing it.
I love it. And she never answers him.
I wonder why he says green. He likes green.
I don't know. I think it's just a random color that he chose.
Yeah, just to mess with her.
And then he was like, green's not a very good nickname.
Yeah, blue's better. I would know.
I ended up putting, for my Sims, one of their last names.
Oh, heck yeah.
They get into Mars' lab. Darcy finds everything she needs pretty quickly, including an Aquarius moonstone.
Interesting.
Werewolf fleas in the making.
The heist is successful. They escape with no problems. Later on, after Tori's run, they're all hanging out in the orb with the Ass Club.
In walks the heirs. Max tries to pull some more fears from the girls. And Tori's like, fuck that, and throat punches her.
Yes.
It's amazing.
She can't fight with her magic so much, so she kicks him in the balls.
The magic all its own.
Yeah. And he
beauty.
goes down. And then she's like, you might want to think about pulling secrets from me because I'm not just keeping my own, you know?
Yeah. She's
You
like,
would think
don't be stupid.
Yeah, he should have known that. Why would he even fuck with her?
Yeah.
Because he's like, well, of course she's not going to share my secret or I'll do something to her. And then, because he even threatened her with that. And then she's like, well, your secret will be out then, wouldn't it?
Yeah. He's got a lot more to lose than she does.
Yes.
Well, they're used to bullying people to get what they want.
Yeah.
So it's also some of it.
So after she kicks his ass, the Ass Club and the twins start to leave, but Caleb gets in their way. He wants to talk.
They go outside. He's flirting with her, really trying to seduce
Caleb.
her. She's not having it.
Well, he wants the secret.
Well, that too, yeah.
Which is also a huge deal because it's like, okay, he's not just flirting with her, but he's also manipulative as fuck.
Yeah.
And I love that she's like, well, why don't you go ask your friend if you want that secret?
And he's smart enough to not keep pushing.
Yeah. Because it's weird. Why does he want that over Max? Is that why he wants it? Or does he just want to know the secret?
I'm sure all the heirs are that way. I don't think they're actually friends. I'm sure they would step over the body of each and every one of them.
I think
for
that they
power.
are friends on some level.
Some, but not once it reaches that actual throne ruling level. I think it's just.
Yeah. I
whoever's
love that whenever
strongest.
we say something controversial, we look at Brittany. We're like, what do you think?
And I'm trying so hard to keep my mouth shut.
After getting out of Caleb's hearing range, Tori asks Darcy what she did. She joined a whole bunch of Pegasus appreciation groups on Caleb's behalf using his atlas that he left behind. She also sent some suggestive emails to some Pegasus chicks too.
It's beautiful. I love it.
The plan is coming together.
Oh, so funny.
And then immediately after that, we have a visit from Darius.
Yeah, he invites her to a party, and she at first is like, no, I don't want to go.
She's like, you can't make me.
Yeah, you can't make me go. But he's like, I'll be nice to you.
I love that he pulls, this is an offer you can't refuse.
Yeah.
Well, and then what kind of person do you want me to show up as? Do you want me to humiliate you?
Oh yeah, which I cannot imagine going down well with Daddy Acrux.
Oh, Lord. Yeah. But then he makes her offers. He's like, please come. Like, almost begs her without begging her. And she, like, kind of doesn't really say she will come, but she runs after him, right?
Well, he promises to fulfill the promise to teach her to control her fire. And so after that is when she's like, well, because she kind of needs it.
And he leaves it with like, I'll send dresses to your room.
God, I hope she doesn't wear them. Or she cuts them up and like does her own like thing
I hope
with
she
them.
does wear them, and it drives him crazy. I hope she does wear them. I've read too many romance books.
Oh, I do want to mention the fact where she kind of like insults his family a little bit and he gets angry.
Oh, yeah?
Do you think he gets angry because she insulted his family? And I'm assuming like all he cares about is Xavier in that insulting. Or is he angry that she said, you're just like them?
Yes, I think that's
Yeah, I think it's more that he doesn't want to be compared at all because he basically hates most of them.
All right, on to detention day. Darcy wakes up in a really good mood. Her hair potion is ready and it works. It even tastes good. This is where the shaving her hair thing really becomes an issue. Her hair is supposed to grow a couple of inches for every so many milliliters she drinks of the potion, but her hair is all choppy, so wouldn't it grow all awkwardly and uneven?
So the one in the back where it's like almost to the scalp would be short.
Yeah. And so I never understood why she didn't shave her head first.
Or just cut it afterwards.
Or cut it
correctly. But yeah, I agree. I had the same thought. I was like, it's not going to be even. It's going to be weird.
Yeah.
Like it's just long enough it doesn't matter.
That's what it seems to be.
Because didn't she say it was a little longer than
Oh, yeah. Her hair in pictures that I've seen and based on the description given in the book is probably down to about here, right above her butt. Like the way I like mine.
But it's implied that it looks like Tori's.
Yeah.
Which it shouldn't because of the fact that her hair was fucked.
Yeah. So, like, unless she cut it. So.
Maybe she did. Maybe it's not written, but I also just feel like it's another one of those moments where it's like, the authors didn't think this through.
So she goes to breakfast, accidentally dumps coffee on the heir's couch, which I personally think she should have done on purpose. Love that Seth is the one that sits on that.
Very nice. Mm-hmm. So Caleb mistakes Darcy for Tori and very sexually
kind of freaks her out
on her. Yeah, and she's like, whoa. I am Darcy. And they're all confused because they're like, your hair is normal again, but they don't say that, right?
Except for Seth, who's all upset. His little bracelet doesn't mean anything anymore.
Oh yeah, he gets super angry. Who helped you? I can read a book, Seth.
Yeah, he immediately gets, like, personally offended. Mm-hmm. It makes you just wonder, like, I don't know, I'm scared. Is he gonna try and cut her hair off again? What's he gonna do with that bracelet?
She was, like, very much, I'll stand up to you. Just don't take my hair.
Yeah.
Which I totally get. He can take her hair because she can just grow it back.
Yeah. So he won't do it again, probably, because she knows how to do it.
No, once they do it, it's not as fun. Yeah. They all surround her.
Yeah.
And they want to know why she's in detention.
It's literally a let's get her kind of moment. And then Orion.
Isn't that against the rules? Like you have to take on one-on-one?
If it's an official challenge. So they can bully people together. But if, say, one of them were to attack her with their magic or physically in any way, then it would be one-on-one.
Like the pool, though, was also an attack, a group attack. Agreed. It was not. So it just feels a little bit like Twilight, where you've got rules that apply different ways.
That's why Caleb does say he felt like it was unfair. Yeah. That, it's supposed to be one-on-one, and he didn't feel that was one-on-one. No. He felt that was crossing a line.
It isn't really a hard and fast rule. It's just more of a suggestion.
It's a societal rule. Like, you're not going to go to jail if you don't fight one-on-one.
I mean, Orion was horrified at what they did to Tori, like pulled her out and everything. If it was a one-on-one challenge, she would have been less likely to do that, I think.
Yes. They also can't kill her.
Yeah, or they're not supposed to, but they did get real close.
Yes, they did.
But back to this detention, Orion also confuses Darcy for Tori briefly, right?
Did he, though?
Yeah.
Did he, or did he pretend so that the heirs wouldn't know he helped her?
Oh, so clever. Stupid Orion.
Yeah, because he knows that she's going to steal this. Okay, yeah.
You're right.
That.
I think that makes more sense. Yeah.
But yeah, the heirs want to know why Darcy's in detention. And
she doesn't say.
She won't give it up. And so they do also, like, insinuate that she spread her legs for Orion. And Darius is like, whoa, Orion would never stoop that low. He's got more class than that.
But they're like, she's clearly giving him the fuck me eyes. You can't mouth hump his name like that in front of me, Darcy. I can't. How dare you mouth hump his name like that?
And Max is like, oh, I forgot you and Orion were buddies to Darius.
Yeah.
And Darius is like, we're not buddies. And then Orion's like, yeah, we're not.
They completely deny it, but then right after that, when they're all digging the hole, which, by the way, is one of the best scenes in the book. Can we just say that? After they're all digging the hole and they're up on the roof, Riot and Darius are being buddy-buddy.
Yeah, they're sitting there together while the others are working. But yeah, let's talk about that hole.
Let's talk about the hole. Have you ever seen Parks and Rec?
No, I hate Chris Pratt.
I mean, same. I also hate Chris Pratt so much. When I first watched Parks and Rec, I had no idea how shitty of a person he was. But there's this long-running joke in it called The Pit. Like, you fell in the pit. That's what I was thinking of when they were digging the hole.
So Orion takes them out to the Wailing Woods. He's got, like, this lifeguard chair. And he makes them dig a 8-foot hole. And he uses his magic to make sure Darcy's hands stay nice and smooth.
It's giving holes. It's giving, I'm tired of this, Grandpa.
And every time, like, no, they're not allowed to use their magic. And every time they fuck with Darcy, Orion's like, try and get me 50.
Amazing. It's the coach in him. It's amazing.
So at some point, like, Darcy's like, I'm getting dizzy. He calls her over, gives her water. Caleb's like, that's favoritism, sir. And so he dumps an entire waterfall on them, which Max is like, woohoo!
Okay, but when he pulls her over and gives her water, I was just like, he's so down bad. He's so down bad. But then he has to, like, play it off.
Oh yeah, and then he's like, he uses the waterfall to be like, blue or green. I want an answer. I want an answer by sundown.
I love that he's taking every opportunity to talk to her and flirt with her, mess with her. I'm so into it. I'm sorry. He's a bitch, but he also gets right into my brain. I'm like, oh, it's so good.
You know he's my favorite.
I know, he's so fun. Christy's like, I hate him so much.
No. I don't. Certain aspects, there's others I hate more, but there's certain aspects for him I get, but I just
Sophia.
I think I hate Sophia worse than I hate Seth.
Damn, good God. That's Sophia worse. He's a psycho. She's just kind
But he's
of a little
upfront
bitch
about it.
Damn.
For you to meet the real Sophia.
Okay, Brittany.
I want an apology after the since you insulted Sophia so much. No, I'm just kidding.
Watch, I'll be like, yes, I'll hate her.
Yeah, it is the earth sign in you. You're like, nope, I hate her. But yeah, no. The scene is so funny, and they're all talking to each other.
Oh, yeah.
And playing around and, like, being kind of normal.
Even with Darcy.
Yeah, I love how, like, Darcy, at first, she feels uncomfortable joining in, and then she just mumbles something to herself because they brought up fucking Washer.
Disgusting motherfucker.
All she says is, like, I believe that. And they welcome her into the conversation, and they don't try to ostracize her. And they do kind of get a little closer. Like, they treat her like a human being.
Yeah.
Until they're on the roof.
Well, yeah. It can't last for that.
Of course. Yeah. I mean, like, it's really fun to read that part where they're all kind of messing around. But then you get to the roof and you're like,
That's
It's
what I
all
get
over
frustrated
again.
with. It's not linear. Like
Yeah.
it feels like there's so much back and forth. It doesn't like there's not like a natural progression of where they warm up to her and things. It's like this massive reversal back and forth.
Well, they honestly, it's like a in private personality and an in public personality.
Yeah, but the roof, they're technically in private too,
They
but they still
are.
revert back to how they originally were. It's just
They
there's
are.
no.
They are making progress, but it is baby steps. They have nothing against the Vega twins except for the fact that they technically have the birthright to the throne. So they can treat them like people, but overall they still have this goal of we have to keep them under our thumb.
I mean, if you've ever had like a bully kind of relationship with a guy, it also feels like this. Where it's like very back and forth. It's like, oh, I thought he liked me. Like, no, he's an asshole. And then it's like, oh, he kind of likes me again. And they're like, no.
Oh yeah, I used to have an ex who would terrorize me. We worked together and he would just like pick on me mercilessly. It made me so angry, but he would also call me at night and sing to me. Then he also told me I wasn't pretty enough to date in public.
What is with men like that? But they do exist. They do exist. It's insane though. Ugh.
I think it's called very, very, very deep insecurity.
Which is why the bully romances and like the villain like romances to me make so much sense. It's because it's like women have so much shit we have to put up with.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
It makes sense to me that we have these romanticized versions of men where they're still being assholes, but we still love them, unfortunately.
It's hard to find a man in this world that's not an asshole, so...
Yeah. They're not all Rhysand's.
Or Johan.
Or Travis's.
Or
Yeah.
Travis. Yes.
I think a lot of it too is I think especially for like when you're younger, there's all the stuff that you read, it's all these like bullies basically, but then the one girl that like breaks through and they're just these wonderful people, and then that's what you look for.
That's what you hope for.
Yeah. You want to be the one.
Yeah.
You don't want the one that's already nice. You want the one that's like
You have to fix.
Like special. You feel
Yeah.
special that way.
Exactly. And it's really sad. Like, I can't remember. It was like some sort of like tag or something that I saw that it was talking about basically stop bringing up your girls to marry someone. Instead, bring them up to like, damn, I can't remember how it said, but basically like stop putting so much emphasis on them finding a mate to make them feel important and successful.
If they can make themselves feel important and special themselves, they won't need a man to tell them that they are.
Yep.
One of the things that I do love about the digging scene still is like after the water, Darcy goes back and she starts digging after they fuck with her again. And Caleb gets push-ups to do this time.
Yeah.
And she digs and she accidentally throws dirt on Caleb. And Caleb is just like, watch it.
Kind of rolls off his back.
And he's like teasingly saying, watch it.
Yeah.
It's not an aggressive, like, ugh, why did you throw this at me? I'm angry.
Again, he seems like the most likable, the softest.
Is most secure.
Yeah.
And Orion doesn't give her push-ups.
And he's down bad. He really is into her. And I love it. Also, I love that Seth sings in this. And Orion's like, shut the fuck up.
It's like, am I interrupting your porn, sir?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, your mom's really gotten better this time.
Proof that Orion is like...
One of the guys.
Like, proof that he's like not that much older than them. I don't know. He's like 26 or
25.
so? 25?
He is currently 25.
Yeah.
So he takes them to Jupiter Hall, gives them these trowels and gloves, and then is like, go up this ladder.
Yeah.
And then he's like, you're all wet, Miss Vega.
I can't with this man.
And he just gently dries her.
Why do I have a feeling that Orion is one of the author's favorites?
I'm betting. Maybe one had a secret crush on a professor.
Ooh, yeah. I don't normally like the professor, teacher, student thing. It's actually pretty gross, regardless of if it's college or not, but I love Orion. I wish he was not the professor.
Well, it's a forced professorship, potentially.
True.
As soon as Darius leaves, who he'll probably leave with. But yeah, so they go up to the roof. Orion says Griffin got a little drunk, shat all over the roof, and now they must get rid of it.
I read this passage and was like, you've got to be fucking kidding me.
I thought it was
shit?
throw up at first.
That makes more sense to
Then he
me.
shorted.
It's shit.
Griffin shit. And of course, Griffin shit is very toxic. It causes this deep purple rash to break out. And Max is like, nope, I have sensitive skin. I am out.
And Darcy files that away for future use.
Yeah, thanks for the information, bro.
Which is pretty fucked up because Griffin shit, Darcy? I hope that she doesn't use the Griffin shit because, like, if Max has sensitive skin, she could probably use something less disgusting.
No. I think he deserves.
You're like, no, the Griffin shit is where it's at.
Yeah. Although, here's the thing, though. We've all had diarrhea from time to time, right? Mm-hmm. But yet, this is like giant beast manages to just get it on the roof and not sprinkle a little on some other beings below. You know? I mean, how did we manage to just nail the roof?
I don't know how.
It's just the funniest commentary.
This is a little side note that you learned later in the series. Apparently, there is a Griffin tax because they just shit anywhere they want to.
So they're like horses.
And so people have to be paid to clean it up.
Damn. It's like the horses on Broughton.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, though, is that, like, yeah, but that's if the horses were, like, 20 stories high and shitting on people as they walked. Because, I mean, how do they not have purple people walking around?
Griffins fly, too, right? So.
That's what I'm saying. Like, how do they not have purple people? You know?
I'm just gonna keep my mouth shut.
Oh my lord.
So Darcy keeps shoveling the shit, and then they surround her. And of course, Max uses his gifts to ask her why she got detention.
Why doesn't she just smack him in the face with some poo? I mean,
well, she should have done that. Though that would have been a direct challenge, and then he could attack her as well.
Well, if we're being logical about it, obviously.
But he couldn't. He has such sensitive skin. He wouldn't have been able to do anything at that
Well, it
point.
depends on, we don't know much about the rash. We know it causes the rash, but how quickly does it come up? And is it debilitating enough that he wouldn't be able to still attack Darcy? Or is it just uncomfortable?
Well,
or is it like a
tripped.
burning
It was like,
rash
wait.
of
Hemorrhoids?
hemorrhoids? That's the
The
word.
whole thought is terrible.
They kind of get Darcy to answer their question, and Seth is super angry and wants to know why. And she's like, because this place feels like home.
And they're like, fuck.
Yeah. Which, just because this place feels like home doesn't mean I want the throne.
Yeah, they're ridiculous.
Did Tori ever tell Darcy about Max's secret?
Yes.
Yeah, I think she
Why the
relays
hell?
it.
So why did she not use it right then?
Darcy's not like that, partly.
She's shoveling poo to nail Max, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, but I don't know if her first inclination is to be, you know?
The reason Tori decided not to share is because Max convinced her that if this secret got out, it would put Solaria in danger because it would create more of a divide between people. And so I'm sure she conveyed that to Darcy as well. And they don't want to put the country in.
Yeah, but they already told Max to back the hell off, so he's still not. So I feel like...
Though, to be fair, Tori told him to back off. She didn't necessarily include Darcy in there.
Okay.
You'd think it's implied.
Yeah. Okay.
So Orion loses his shit, rows them off the roof, and holds them upside down. Seth is like, let us go. And so he's like, fine,
And they
drop.
play it off, which is lame.
Yeah, I love that Orion was like, damn, I was hoping one of them would go splat.
Yeah. Orion is secretly her biggest cheerleader. Let's be honest. He is. He's like, I'm waiting for you to get them. Not Darius, but the rest of them.
Stay away from Darius.
Okay, we have the last chapter, which is pretty fun.
Tori goes to fire tutoring with Darius.
Yeah.
Caleb shows up first and tries to seduce her some more. Grows flowers, and she's like, I'm not a flower person. I'm an oil and engine fumes person.
Makes you wonder, is Caleb really after her? Is he after her power? Is he after...
Fun time.
Yeah. Like, what?
Yeah, he doesn't seem to really get her.
Yeah.
I mean, they have chemistry sexually, but
I think she's just an oddity because all the other girls are falling all over themselves and she's not. So it's just kind of one of those.
I also wonder if some of it has to do with the fact he's a vampire. Part of her being his source is also, like, attractive. I don't know.
when she gets there, Darius is already there. They go off into a less public area to work. He works her over and over and over again. And then he's like, do you need to refuel? Because I need to top up. And she's like, nope, I'm fine.
And she's like, I'm good, actually. And he's like, you're lying.
Yeah, when she's literally like, I looked into my power source and it felt no different than when we started. The power in that girl is super, super like crazy.
But I think that it's interesting that she doesn't have to top up. And it makes you wonder, is it because she's just that powerful? Like, what's going on?
Okay, so I'm assuming that her source is somehow the fire, and that is replenishing her continually so that she doesn't need to top up.
Yeah, like he has gold with him.
Yeah, because she's like, you managed to save your gold? And he's like, no, I had to go home and get more.
Poor Darius had to go home and get more gold.
She knows she's walking a fine line.
But she's like, well, tell me about this fire.
It's kind of how, like, serial killers have to go back to the site one last time. She's like, I shouldn't ask about this, but I'm going to ask about it anyway. She notices that he's obviously very possessive over it, which is just funny because if you think about when he finds out that it was her.
If he does.
When?
Oh, he's going to find out.
Yeah.
When he finds out that it was her.
God, I hope he sees her sitting on his money.
Oh, he's going to be so mad. Oh my gosh. This could be a make it or break it moment
But
for
is
him.
he going to be mad or is he going to appreciate it?
I think it's going to be both. He's going to be livid, but then he's going to be like kind of impressed maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not going to look at Brittany.
Oh, she's hiding it pretty well.
Well, she starts to realize that he thinks the fire was an accident.
Yeah.
And she does not like that because she's like, no.
No, he needs to be more upset about this.
Yeah.
So she starts to form another plan.
Any thoughts on this new plan?
Putting his gold in places around the university, maybe? Like taunting him, like, here's one here, here's one here. That'd be so funny, though, because that's an easy way to get her caught.
Yeah.
I think she wants to be.
Yeah, she does. A little
I
bit.
mean,
It probably feels great knowing that you pulled one over on Darius, but is it really useful if he doesn't know that you pulled one over on him?
Right. It doesn't hurt him in the way that they want it to if he thinks it's an accident.
Yeah.
at his house, he's like, the idea of the Vegas doing this to me is just completely ridiculous.
Yeah.
So they're getting away with what they're doing because nobody can conceive of the fact that they had the will to fight back.
So after Darius tops up, he tasks her with making a more complicated sheep.
And she makes a bike.
She makes a bike.
And he's like, what the hell you know about bikes?
Can you ride one of those?
And she's like, yeah, because the weight of my heart is being on a bike.
Yeah, she actually tells him, if you really want me to leave, give me a bike and open road and I'm gone.
Yeah.
Which I don't understand why they don't think of that as a viable option.
Yeah, if we've noticed anything by now, it's that the boys don't listen to them
That's the truth.
at all.
Yeah, that's never how it happens.
Yeah, but she makes that, and then they have like a little moment where there's like all that tension.
While she's trying to make the motorcycle,
Darius moves behind her so she could have access to both hands, and he starts caressing her and trying to distract her.
Little
and
shit.
she decides if he's going to play dirty, she's going to play dirty.
If there's one thing Tori can do, it's play dirty.
Mm-hmm.
The jumping up and down at the end.
I can't. She's ridiculous.
Oh.
I love it.
Mhm.
It's like a Demi Moore moment.
Yes, what do y'all think about the tension between those two? And where's Caleb going to fit in here?
I will be honest, it's not as good as the Orion and Darcy tension. I'm sorry. I do like Darius and Tori. It's cute. I like it. There's something about Orion. He's too flirty. Darius needs to step it up.
He does.
I feel like that, because I know with the whole Elysian thing, I feel like that Darius and Tori are going to be pulled together like that. So it's not necessarily because they want to be together, but because the stars want them to be together because they will end up being so powerful together.
I think so too, especially because all the stuff with the bikes, it's like things are aligning too well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, whenever I found out that he has bikes, I was like, oh, so they're meant to be together?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's what you're telling me?
Next set of chapters, we will learn more about Elysian mates.
Good.
But there's some complications with them.
Well, especially if Darius already has a bond. That's going to be weird. She leaves him a little frustrated. She starts walking off. She's like, leave him wanting.
I love when she gets distracted and loses the motorcycle. He's like, don't flatter yourself. I was only doing it so you can use both hands. And then at the end, after she rubbed her ass all over his dick, she's like, don't get flattered.
They're two peas in a pod.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
They end it with Darius saying that he will pick them up for the party at 6.
Very ominous.
Yeah.
Very scary place to leave those chapters.
Speaking of the party, like, how do y'all think this is going to turn out?
Hunger Games.
God. Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of concerned. If it is a real party, then some grand gesture is going to happen that's going to humiliate the girls, I feel. I don't see it going well at all.
What about meeting with the counselors?
Totally forgot about this part.
Like, their sons have been so wonderfully fun.
Oh, yeah.
Imagine how this is going to go.
I think it's going to either be that they're going to try, like you said, to humiliate them and try to force them to renounce the throne in front of everybody, or just straight up try to kill them.
For sure. I would expect nothing good to happen of the party.
This is going to be one of the potential deaths.
I could see that. It's giving Halloween Town. It's reminding me so much of the third one.
Oh, yeah.
So what do y'all think about the revenge plot so far? We have Darius losing his gold.
I love it.
Rumors about Caleb's pegasus fetish. And sadly, the other two are planned for but not implemented yet.
I need something terrible to happen to Seth. And it's not fleas. I need something life-altering.
You could start with fleas.
Yeah.
And it needs to be humiliating.
Yes.
Just utterly humiliating. Like, make it something that gets back to his parent.
What if, it would be great.
Breath flees home.
Because Seth sleeps around so much, it was rumored he has an STI. Like the fleas, but like crabs.
Would they care?
I feel like,
In this series, it's mantle crabs. There's a rumor that someone gets it.
I think
I think you hit on it.
For Seth. I think it would be perfect for Seth. And I don't know about Max, but...
Does he have a sister, Seth?
Yeah.
He has many siblings.
So does she end up with the crabs too? Is this
God.
like Arkansas?
Ew! Chrissy, your mind. The way your mind works.
I will say this. The rumor of the crabs is on a girl, not on...
What a shame. Oh, maybe it's Kylie.
No, what if it's like her best friend?
No, what if it's Kylie and then it's rumored to be Seth because he's having sex with Kylie?
What if it's her best friend and now Seth and her best friend both have crabs?
Scandalous. All right, we'll stop there today. We hope that you guys have enjoyed the show, and next episode we're going to be discussing part 2 of the book, Ruthless Fae, chapters 15 through 25. New episodes will drop every Tuesday night, hopefully, because we've had some life events that are keeping us from updating on time. We hope that you tune in to the next episode.
Please remember to like, subscribe, and follow us on social media. That like and follow are super important for us being able to continue to bring you new episodes each week. So please, please, please do so. Thank you for listening to the Midnight Readers podcast. We'll see you next week.
Happy reading, listeners. Don't stay up too late.